Now you're watching a mukbang. Shit. There might be too much ice cream, honestly, though. No. I'm not sharing a goddamn thing. Honestly, I should have got water, realistically. I might go get water in a minute. No late boys today. Holy fucking character development. So, y'all just wanted to talk. Because there wasn't really anything to go over that I hadn't already talked about. But you guys wanted to fucking talk for some reason. Not that I don't appreciate the love and support it, but you know, what you want to talk about. What's going on? We had a fucking Nintendo Direct and people, Donnie Nate. What the fuck is that? Donnie Nate? Baten Kaitos? Let's talk about dead leakers. Are we talking about, didn't something happen recently with Pyro, where his source of leaks kind of got exposed? So more than likely he will no longer have the leaks for us in that sense. Wasn't that the whole thing that happened? From what I remember, I'm always down to you eating well. I'm eating cake. I don't know if I would say I'm eating well, but I'm eating cake. Now, should I be eating cake? Probably not, but you know. With the diabetes and all. But it wasn't, I may not eat all of this. I might just eat that one piece and put the rest of it in the fridge just to be responsible, because nobody likes sugar issues. So I might just eat a little bit more and then that's it, because, you know, we try to stay okay here. Leakers are a cancer. That is right. I said it. Retro, you're contrarian. We don't trust you. Pyro is going to get shot in a few days. Jesus Christ, y'all. That's a hell of a jump in things to say. My goodness. He's going to get shot? Y'all thought that was the thing we're going with? Damn. Chill the fuck out. Relax. That's a wild assertion. But there isn't, like, realistically, as far as conversation wise, I mean, we can shoot the shit, but like realistically, there wasn't a much to go on, because, you know, we'll talk about, listen, I talked about the Direct. I watched the Direct. I talked about the Direct in my own video, and then I'm going to talk about it again on Monday. Like, realistically, as much as I like to talk, like, I like Nintendo, I don't want to, there's only so much you can really repeat. That's probably the reason why my video is the way it is titled, because I didn't want to just do the same video, even though realistically it's still kind of the same video. You just mentioned One Piece and leaving the rest in the fridge. I forgot to read One Piece this week. Reading now. I haven't read One Piece either. All I know is that people are. Zachary like alluded to a spoiler in the weirdest way, and then I saw the spoiler on Twitter. I haven't even read the chapter. I've just seen the spoiler on Twitter. And I'm like, I don't really see what the big deal is. Like, I think people are mad because it's no longer an exclusive thing. Although, realistically, I won't get too much into it because it's a spoiler. And technically, the legal version of those chapters haven't come out yet. So, technically, motherfuckers don't know. So, let me not put that out in the ether, essentially, is what I'm saying. Because I feel like that would be bad. So I'm not going to do it. But yeah, let's talk about how the Direct reminded us that Fairy Tail is the best anime of all time. I'm surprised I didn't get hit up by Studio. That's the one that I'm surprised. Studio, I thought that was the first joke Studio was going to make. I didn't expect that from Orion. So I expected Studio to be like, see, I told you Fairy Tail was goated. I told you Fairy Tail was goated. We got Hiro Mashima shit 2 times in one Direct. It was fucking goated. And then I realized that, like, Studio probably doesn't watch a lot of, doesn't probably watch Nintendo Directs like that. Either way, it's still kind of funny to me. It wasn't, but yeah, like, I don't want to really go over the Direct again. Because I feel like the direct conversation is going to get really redundant, especially when I'm going to talk about it in like another couple of days anyway. So I want to kind of just talk about other things. I know people were talking about the Elden Ring DLC reviewed very highly, which I haven't touched yet. I have booted up the game, but I haven't really touched the DLC. So I'm not gonna. I need to. I feel like I need to grind a couple more levels and get my shit together. Plus, I still have technically side bosses I need to go kill. So I'm not gonna play that game yet until later. Motherfucker, I should have just fucking. I forgot to mute the messenger because they all like to have conversations while I'm streaming, and I don't like to turn off the fucking timer for shit. I get it. Oh my god. But no. In all seriousness, no. We're in an interesting period because now we have a pretty strong layout, at least from Nintendo, for the rest of the year. Even though not everything from Nintendo is first party, it's still like third party stuff, and it's still stuff to be excited about, which is kind of the main point here. But getting into more of the specifics in gaming, I don't know how people feel with the company because I saw something that I don't know is true because I didn't look too much into it. So I'm curious if anyone else has heard of it. That PlayStation had said something to the effect of like this generation is about to be over for them in terms of like the PS5. Has anyone heard that, or is that just me? I've heard like supposedly there was some report that came out talking about how we're about done with the PS5 generation. Now, there's already been rumors of a PS5 Pro and whatnot, so it's not like... But to say you're almost done with the PS5 generation sounds like PS6 is coming in the next year or so. And I'm curious if that is the case, if that's one, because of how much things cost and how they need to make back their money, or is it two, your competition's about to come out with a sequel to one of their most well-received consoles of all time, so you're not about to get... laps like this. Now, Xbox doesn't care because Xbox doesn't make money off their consoles. Although I do feel like there's a conversation to be had about people not really acknowledging that this is a problem within the industry, that like gaming has changed to the point where if they don't play the graphics and fucking visual fidelity game, they're essentially screwed, and that there's a problem with that being the state of affairs right now. That better be bullshit, because most folks still don't even have a PS5. Exactly, that's very true. A lot of people don't have a PS5 because why would you buy one? What would be the need to buy a PS5 as of currently? And especially if that is true, that means you really don't have a reason to buy a PS5. Which is always, I don't know, gaming is going to be in a weird position in the next 5 years. Because we're going further and further away from physical anything. We're very much going into a digital-only age. Where preservation's still struggling and emulation from official entities is not great. Like, I think people already showed... I think someone on Twitter already kind of went through all the problems with the Switch version of Perfect Dark. Although, interesting enough... the Xbox version also had issues when it came out, and they still haven't fixed those. So neither of the big companies have really fixed their ports. The answer is no. PlayStation Studios are becoming multi-plat at this point. Tia says, it's weird, Tia says, it's been a while since I've seen you. It's also been a while since I've seen that icon for you. I know you don't really do nothing with your YouTube channel, but man, it's very nostalgic to see that icon. I haven't seen that icon in a minute. Because, we usually just talk on Discord. Which we could shoot the shit on Discord for those who are interested. That might be what we can do tonight, because realistically, I don't have any specific topics that need to be covered. I mean, there are things to talk about and discussions to be had, but like, of course, TSS. But like, I mean. And then on top of that, we have the Steam Summer Sale going on. But I feel like the future of gaming is always an interesting conversation because of the directions. Now go ahead, Jesus. We're gonna still talk, and then I'll hop on my server, and then people can join that way. But I find it interesting in the current state of gaming we are currently in. Between the oh no! Oh, did I get it? Hold on. I forgot something. All right, hold on a second, guys. I forgot something. So I was I forgot to bring this up, and Jesus may or may not still be here to hear this. So at work today, it's during summer, and summer school's on its like last couple weeks. I think next week is the last week for summer school, right? So after summer school, nobody's gonna be in these schools other than us and like the custodians. But there's a couple of our schools in our district that are closing, and so we had to get all the stuff that we care about out, and then the rest of it's getting thrown in the trash. And one of my coworkers, I had to unbox like 200 laptops in these last couple of days and get them ready for my high school. So I didn't really get a chance to like scavenge from these, closing schools. But my friend had mentioned to me, my coworker was like, "Hey, I heard there was some crazy stuff in the back of these old schools that you might be interested in." And I was like, what could they possibly have that would be of any worth? This is what they had. This is what they had. They had a goddamn PlayStation, which looks in really good condition. Look at the condition on this bitch. The only thing that's on here that I don't care for is I guess they wrote like some property of stuff on the back. But this is an OG. Well, not the old. I don't think this is the original. Well, no, this might be the original PlayStation because the newer one was the smaller one, right? So they had a fucking OG PlayStation. This bitch is in like pretty, like this looks borderline pristine. Look at this shit. This shit is borderline like pristine, bro. I haven't had it. I literally forgot. I brought it home today. The bitch looks so clean. It looks like it was bought and never fucking used. Look at this. For a console that is what? The console's like, what was that? From what is this? Not even a 90s? Yeah, it was a 90s console. I don't know. He gave me a bag. I'm about to look through the bag right now. But this looks in really good condition for a console that is that old. I almost want to mod it. I feel like I need to mod it or something. Because it feels weird just to have it. I don't see any games. But they did have controllers. And the controllers look in really good condition too. Like literally this bitch don't look like it's ever been really used. I feel like they bought it. They mark it with the school logo, which I'm not going to show because obviously that's technically a form of doxing. But yeah, they fucking like I think they just bought a brand new PlayStation and never used it. This shit don't even have dust on it. There's no dust on this thing. What's in here? And then here are all the controllers. Yeah. This shit smells borderline new, dog. Like I think literally they had it and didn't do anything with it. Which is conceptually, it's even in a fucking Nyko bag, for God's sakes. I just realized that. I have no idea why this school had brand new fucking PlayStations. Now, to be fair, I've learned that these schools that are in my county where I live at are fucking time capsules. These bitches, for whatever reason, are like doorways to the motherfucking past. Like this, like I want you to understand how pristine this shit looks. This shit looks so unnecessarily. That's literally. I'm giving an example. I found OG floppy disks I found. Remember the Freddy Goldfish games? You remember those? Or the Jumpstart games? Bro, the fact that this shit even exists is a stat. This shit is in such good condition. Like just look at the ports on this bitch. The ports on here are so clean. I literally believe this bitch was never fucking used. There's no dust, there's no damage. The bitch looks pristine. I'm so confused at how good this looks, which makes me want to mod it low key. Like I can't even explain to you why it's like this. And the other question is, why did a middle school have it? And they had a bunch of them, by the way. It wasn't just one, because my coworker got his own, got him one. For whatever reason, they just had PS1s they never fucking used. And I'm sitting here confused, like, why did you do this? Now to be fair, the other high school I know of has a gaming club where they have a row full of gaming PCs, a row full of PS4s, and a row full of Switches. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little tempted, if any of that shit ever fell through, to take any of that stuff from them. The problem is it's too new, and it's not like that PlayStation 1 where it just fell through the wayside. And by the time it did fall through, by the time it was old enough for me to like casually get away with taking, I'm gonna be real with you, I won't probably be working there anymore. All right, chill out, phone. Damn. I probably won't be working there anymore. I won't be working in the system anymore anyway. So, but yeah, that's crazy. I almost forgot to bring that up. Pristine fucking PS1. No games, but I'm somewhat tempted to mod it, given some Google searching. So we'll see. But I forgot to mention it, so that's why I'm bringing it up now. It might seem a little random because it is, but I'm just mentioning it because it was it's such an interesting thing. But yeah, these schools have a bunch of weird shit in them. But sorry, I went on a whole tangent. That shit threw me off. TSS was so ready for this chat. It's fucking crazy. Where's my thing set up for? So yeah, I'm gonna jump into the server and we can kind of just shoot the shit. Also, hey, what's up, Goki? What's up, Boom? What's up, Midnight Lord? What's up, Navy? What's up, Orion Sword? I don't even know what's up, Retro. I don't know if I even went through the whole what's up, everybody, like I normally do. I may not have, and I probably should have. Well, good luck getting PS1 games that aren't priced up as fuck, because holy fuck. Is it that bad? I didn't know it was that bad. Hold on. We're going to join the gamer chats. I need to switch the fucking audio source so it comes out the right way. Did I not? Oh. There we go. Good evening, sir.
All right. What model is that PS1? Because then I can tell you exactly how old that is.
Okay. I hope that's not the part they whited out on the back. Let's see. Oh, it's March 1998.
Yeah, it is.
It's SCPH 5501.
Okay, the 5501s. Those are pretty good. Those are better than the 75. Well, the 5501s do have an issue with the having to play the damn games upside down because the freaking the laser gets fucked. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Also, since it's early enough, you can use the Game Shark port in the back, or the accessory port in the back, to get like a Game Shark and run Tony Hacks or free PSX boot.
Yeah.
So you can do that, and then you could do like everybody did in the fucking early 2000s and fucking burn CDs. to do burn CDs and all
Why?
that shit.
Why get a CD or DVD burner when you could just use your fucking PlayStation? This is what? Because it probably was cheaper actually to do it that way. But yeah, I'm just surprised these schools have that kind of shit in it.
And also to see a PS1 of that vintage, not freaking yellowed, is pretty cool.
I think this thing has literally never been used. I don't even know if it's been out of this bag since it was put in here. Because it literally looks almost pristine. Like I don't see any. I think it was taken out once to write the school information on the back of it, which has been whited out. That's like the only visual smudging. But I think right afterwards it was put in a box and not touched for like 20 years.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because it looks so. I almost was hoping they would have found if they had found a Game Boy, I would have lost my shit. That's the one thing I wish I still had was my Game Boy Color or my OG Game Boy, because man,
that's why I don't sell anything.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I lost that one. I had a yard sale and it was taken. I was playing it at the yard sale and then they stole it. So that's always something I always wanted to get back at some point in the future. But you know, time happens and you become an adult, and then responsibilities and things fall to.
I mean, to be fair, there's an FPGA Game Boy anyway. It's called the FPGBC.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah.
I found one of my own Game Boys the other day, the GB Color and the SP. I still have my SP. The one thing I really want to do though, at one point is see if I can fix the hinges on maybe like my old DS or my SP, because SP, although I think has better hinges because it doesn't feel as loose, but my OG DS feels loose as shit.
Yeah, I mean, then again though, it is 20 years old.
So. Yeah, no, I get it's the aging process. There's only so much. I mean, even if you handle it with care, things eventually are gonna wear down.
The early DS lights, they have a problem with cracked hinges and also cracked plastic.
Yeah, it's just father time as a motherfucker.
Yeah,
but
and also the other problem with DS lights is that the digitizer on the bottom screen for the touch screen becomes yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, and it is a common occurrence because I've bought a few of them in Japan and they have the same problem. They have the same problem.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do realistically, and
at least the good thing is you can get replacement parts. But
yeah, of course, but you know,
replacement digitizers cost like freaking $3 off of Ali or something. So.
Yeah, it all at that point it's just up to you whether or not you want to put the money in and fix it, or would you just, or you don't care enough.
Yeah, but at this point, if you wanted to play DS games, just 3DS and use the DSi launcher,
right?
That's it. Because you can run Nintendo DS stuff off of SD cards these days with that launcher, the DSi launcher.
I will say transitioning into handhelds was always a smooth. Well, let me rephrase that. Transitioning with Nintendo handhelds was always a smooth experience because they cared so much about backwards compatibility. Like, I don't think there was any like core new Nintendo handheld that didn't have backwards compatibility. Now I know there were versions of them later on that lost it, but like going from GBA to Advance, you could do not GBA, GB to Advance. You could still use those cartridges. If you
except with the exception of the Game Boy Micro, because they wanted to.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like I'm thinking more like the first edition of the Advance. The first, like, if you were transitioning, you could still play your Game Boy games on the Advance OG, and the same thing goes for playing Game Boy Advance games on the DS OG, and same thing for the 3DS.
No, that's I mean, okay.
You can play DS games on the 3DS.
But how it's supposed to go is the GBA to DS, because the DS was the DS Lite was the last one that had the slot 2, or the GBA slot, and then from the DSi onwards, they got rid of slot 2. But you still play DS games, and realistically, the only games that aren't playable on the 3DS or DSi are the ones that require the accessory in freaking slot 2. which means I think like 97 to 98% of the games can play.
Right. And
Yeah,
but
the SP was the last version that had the Sharp Z80
now
chip in it.
my question is this, because I'm not familiar with the PlayStation handheld as much.
Yeah,
Was the Vita backwards compatible for the PSP?
only with digital games. You could not, because they changed the physical slot. Technically, the PSP Go was the first one that got rid of UMD support. But people like the PSP Go because it was smaller,
Right.
but also it. I mean, and plus has a proprietary docking connector. But I think you could still get component video out of it, because the PSP 1000 to 3000, you can get a cable and you can output component video. And if you play PlayStation 1 games on there, it'll actually output in 240p
Interesting.
on a
The funny
display.
thing is that as much as people always said Nintendo dominated the handheld market, and they did when it came to
Yeah.
gaming, it
Yes.
wasn't like PlayStation's consoles were bad in that market.
No.
I think the biggest, and it kind of goes to where they are now today as a company,
Yes.
they just don't support shit. And it's kind of crazy to me that you came out with a second handheld. But I think the problem is every PlayStation like product had like a secondary purpose that people were more interested in, like being able to play DVDs and music CDs, being able to play Blu-rays, fucking being able to stream music off of it. And hell, what was it? They had 3G on the fucking on your gaming device because that's what you wanted. And I'm very much curious now, and maybe I didn't think about it much because I didn't think about it. But
Right.
was that always a marketing thing that you had to add some other functionality to the PlayStation console to make it more appealing as a product? And then the second question is,
Well,
would PlayStation been as successful if they didn't do those things?
well, to be fair though, you got to remember that Sony has existed for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they co-invented the CD standard with Philips. Because if you
Right.
think about it, there's Red Book CDs and Blue Book CDs. There's different grades of CDs, and Sony released like one of the first CD players back in 1982, and then they also did things with the Laserdisc as well. Even though technically, yeah. So you have Sony with all of their patents, because obviously they were the first one that made the Walkman in 1979. So you have to consider that they have always been a company that always innovated. I mean, even back in the 80s, where you had those portable televisions, those portable handheld televisions that came out like in the mid to late 80s, and even in the early 90s, where you had the ability to have. I mean, I think it was called the what was it called? It's not the it was the it was a you have a portable television set in your hand, and I remember looking at advertisements in Sears back in like 1993 and 1994, where you just have like and a color screen too. A lot of them were actually black and white, but Sony had a color screen back in the early 90s, where well, basically think about it like this. Take take a large Walkman, a cassette Walkman, and put a TV screen in there, CRT in there, a very small CRT. And then you had the ability to not only watch VHF and UHF channels, you also had the ability to pick up like um, the NOAA stations, like on 162 megahertz, and also FM. So like I said, Sony's products for many years, for many years before they got into the game console,
Were already
race,
top notch. They were already
already top notch.
they were
and
already
people know the
so my
quality,
question
yeah.
then to you is, do you
Yeah.
still think that way about them currently?
No,
Why?
because the reason being is Sony as a corporation is not doing very well.
Yeah, 'cause
Um,
I think it was the PlayStation 4 where people found out the only successful branch of their entire company was their gaming division. Like they weren't
And
making
I think
money on the
yes, and
other products, which is kind of crazy
well,
because I thought their TVs were still doing okay.
because here's the thing, you have to remember that I would consider that Sony started to falter when they introduced the mini disc back in the early 2000s, because the biggest issue is that the mini disc was great, but the problem is the media that used to record stuff on it was expensive, and also it wasn't lossless, it was lossy. Because I know a lot. I know a few like Elton bootlegs from like mid 2000s where you could tell that they're on mini disc because they're digital recordings, but they're lossy. You could tell that there's like quality loss on it, and I think that's probably one of the things. Now the thing is though, Sony actually made mini disc players that were actually desktop size.
Oh
But
my
if you try to
god!
find, one of those today, they're upwards of $1,000 because they only made it for a very limited amount of time, and the MD format was only supposed to be like a portable format.
Right.
But that was the time. That was around the time where they started to falter. Also, with closing of some of their factories in Japan, that was another thing. Moving everything to China also hurt them quite a bit.
Wasn't that just for like like cost effectiveness? Like
Well, yeah. Then and I think the only factories that they left open was realistically the imaging division for their camcorders and cameras. Sony image sensors are still being made in Japan today,
right.
and that's pretty much the only division of the Sony corporation that's actually still makes their products in Japan.
Yeah,
Everything
that
else has
sounds
been
about right.
outsourced. Everything else has been outsourced,
Because it was
and at that,
financially
and it,
viable to do it,
yeah,
like
exactly.
even though necessarily you lost quality, and which has always
Yeah.
been the trade off. People go to China for cheap labor to get the same products and don't realize that the products aren't
Hmm.
actually exactly the
Yeah.
same. They're in
And,
terms of structural quality, they tend to be worse.
Yes, and that's one of the main reasons why the last game console that Sony made in Japan was the PS2. Everything else after that has been in China.
Now I've always had this question because it's weird because so the PS3 is always considered like that kind of turning point for Sony because
Yes.
it was them coming off of one of their greatest successes as a console manufacturer
Mm.
and trying to be ahead of the game by introducing Blu-ray really fucking early. And I always question if that was a good move in the long run because in the short term it felt really fucking stupid, right? Because your
Yes.
console was unaffordable, people weren't buying it, and you put it out in the same year the Wii came out, which was like less than half of what the
To,
PS3 cost. The
to be
P-
fair though, the first models of PS3 also included Super Audio CD support, which no other console has ever done before.
yeah, it was.
And also it also had memory card slots too.
Yeah, I'm not. When I talk about the PS3, I never talk about it as if it was a bad piece of hardware. I'm just talking
Hmm.
about the investments they chose, the decisions they chose to make
Yeah.
in terms of that console. Because although that console was decked out, I think the real issue is people weren't paying $600 for most things. Like I think
Right.
that was before the time where people thought it was normal, where we've normalized $1,000 TVs now. Like
I,
that's just the
I I
standard.
understand I understand where Sony was going for it because if you think about it, the original PS3 model, which by the way had four USB ports,
Right.
they were probably focusing on using it as a media center, which in a way
That's
was
not
a
a.
great idea.
To be fair, I think that's what the PS3 became even later once the price dropped
The
anyway.
PS2 was originally marketed as that. You got to
That's why
remember,
that's kind of why I
yeah,
started the conversation in the first place because I was like,
yeah,
a lot of Sony's consoles, the only consoles that really haven't been like that is 4 and 5, and that's just because there was nothing really new you could have added to
no,
change the game at all. Like once we hit Blu-ray, and unfortunately we're going in the opposite direction where there's a physical media decline. The
yes,
fact that it plays Blu-rays doesn't even. Also, one Blu-ray playing in general is just more fucking affordable across the board. So even if you
yes,
cared about Blu-ray players, you don't have to get a PlayStation for that. And then on top of that, people aren't buying movies physically anymore. Or hell, half of them aren't even buying games physically anymore. For God's sakes.
Right. But at least the good thing is they did a better job than what freaking Microsoft did. And Microsoft, if you remember, back in 2006 and 2007, they tried to fucking push hard the HD DVD standard, and that fucking failed. Where to the point where in 2008 and 2009, you can go into a you can go into a Toys R Us, or you can go into a Sears or something,
Also,
and find HD DVD add-ons for the Xbox 360 for anywhere between $5 and $30.
Also, real quick, Richard, yeah, if they wanted to change the game with the PS5, they could have added more game. And then Navy was like, the PS4's
Yeah.
backwards compatibility really messed them up.
Yes,
But I
and
think,
the reasoning.
but
The
I thought that
reasoning
was more
behind
so
that,
because of the PS3's different architecture in the first place.
yes, that is part of it. Because the problem here is that Sony went with an IBM design for the cell processor that was too good to emulate. It as a powerhouse, as a power PC powerhouse. It's one of the most powerful consoles that was ever created. Because realistically, all of those cell units and compute units, and especially with the GPU at the time, why do you think the U.S. military used it for a long time? Because the computational power was off the charts. And the problem is you have to consider that developers didn't even know how to program them properly until 3 years into the life cycle.
Yeah.
That's why the fucking COD 4 port looks like ass on the fucking console.
That's the reason why people still ended up picking the 360 early on, because the 360 had the better versions of the same games, even though PlayStation was the more powerful console. Because
Well, and
power doesn't
also,
mean anything if you don't know how to use it.
well, the other reason is because of the DVD hack. The DVD drive hack came up pretty early, probably 2 years into it. But that's besides the point. Um, and also, I think the disc drives and the 360 were more resilient than the ones in the PS3.
I just wish the 360 was built better. My God, I hate that fucking console from a like the
Well,
OG.
yeah,
The OG
yeah,
360 to me is probably one of the most offensive consoles. Not talking about quality of games or any of that. I'm just talking about the physical build of the original 360 was one of the most offensive things that ever came out of gaming as like a to me.
well,
And the fact that it still sold as well as it did, and people's biggest thing was, well, only had to replace it twice, only had to replace it once, only had to replace it 3 times.
yeah, because it took them to the fucking Falcon and Jasper revisions to actually get working fucking consoles
I
that could
think it just
operate.
made me mad how willing the fucking masses was to tolerate such a shitty product. Whereas in most cases that would kill other companies, like realistically.
Right.
If your console had that many issues where it was scratching its discs and shit and then dying half of the time, like that's unheard of a company putting out that kind of
Well,
product and that shit
well,
just still work, and then people being like, "Oh yeah, they're still in business." Now granted, Microsoft being Microsoft means you could never really lose that because
right.
Microsoft makes a fuck ton of money. But I'm just talking about if it was just a game, like if
Yeah.
Nintendo were to do that's almost a death sentence for a lot of
Right.
people. So I have a lot of resentment specifically towards the 360 because I feel like the 360 showed how complacent gamers were with such a shitty fucking product, and it took them until I want to say, because the 360 was first. It came out in '05, and it
Yes.
took them until I want to say was it '08, '09 before that fucking console was like the new standard was out, and then the Slim to me, which was the version you should have bought, which didn't come out until like '09, I
2010.
believe. Was it 10?
2010.
Was it 20?
Yeah,
That which
2010.
is ridiculous to me. Like what the fuck?
I mean, to be fair though, when the Jasper and the Falcon revisions came by in like late '07, early '08, at least they fixed the problem. But the problem is you have consoles out there, and also by the way, It wasn't until the Falcon and the I think it was the Jasper model where you couldn't even get an HDMI port built in. Because the best, if you want the best quality you can get out of a launch Xbox 360 is 1080i component, because the
Yes, Donnie, you
HDMI
made me
port was
stream.
added.
Sorry.
The HDMI port was added later, as opposed to the PlayStation 3, where it had an HDMI port from day one.
Also, you're right, Navy. That was also the same when where people starting to pay for Xbox Live. You couldn't get an online experience until you pay for Xbox Live.
The blades though for the Xbox 360, that was the best dashboard that Microsoft ever produced.
So you haven't liked any dashboard since?
Yeah, because
or you think it's gotten worse?
It's gotten worse because the second dashboard was garbage. The third one, which had all the freaking avatars and shit, that was fine. But damn, that dashboard that was from like late 2008 until like early 2010 or 2011, that was garbage. Because I know that because our brother was complaining about it because he was a 360 maven back in those days.
Now let me ask you a question, because we've talked a little about PlayStation. I do want to talk about Xbox because, and I will double back the PlayStation a little bit, because I do want to talk about the PS4 and PS5 era, because that's been a very interesting time. But I do want to specifically talk about Xbox. What, in your opinion, TSS, what is Xbox's core problem as a game manufacturer? Not, I understand as an entity, it's different. I mean, as a game manufacturer, because remember, the 360 with all its faults was still out here killing the game pretty strongly as an overall console. Like realistically, the 360 and PS3 were pretty close by the end of it. Now, granted, I think that's also because the Xbox lost a lot of steam towards the end of its life cycle. But if we had what became the problem? I hate to say it was just the Xbox One, but I feel like that's what the answer is going to be.
Well, that's one of the answers. I think the other answer is the fact that developers just didn't want to work. I think what killed them though is the always on DRM with the Xbox One. You've had like the fact that you can't even play. You literally cannot play the system offline.
Which is
that killed. And then the fact that was mocked by Sony in their PS4, in their PS4 and their PS4 advertising and their PS4 thing, where you had Yoshida come out and say how to share your games. They capitalized the fact that it was going to be always on DRM.
Were you going to say something, Donnie? Go ahead.
Yeah, there's also the former head of Xbox saying, "Oh, if you can't afford it, you know we have the Xbox 360." Kind of like the whole thing that happened with Sega, where they said, Saturn is not our future."
Yeah, and also the fact that and also the fact that Microsoft had to shove freaking Xbox Kinect down our fucking throats to buy the fucking console.
Now, from my understanding, I think part of the reason why they did it because the Kinect was relatively successful in the 360, which is why I think they kept it going into the Xbox One. I guess my problem is, you would think after reversing those issues, it wouldn't have hurt them this badly. Like, I very much believe Nintendo and Xbox both took L's during that generation for various reasons.
Right.
But the fact that, like, Xbox's whole thing used to be like a strong... It's weird to me that they still compare Xbox and PlayStation like they're on the same level, when Xbox hasn't been considered an equal to PlayStation since the 360. The 360 was the only console generation they were considered a threat to PlayStation. Whereas
also because Xbox Live Arcade was actually fucking kick ass.
Oh no, it was. It was very much ahead of its time. I very much give them credit for it. But that's the only generation where you can make the argument they were like neck and neck, or like rivals. Every other generation, they are dead last. And hell, in the last couple of generations, I mean, at least in this current, this generation's kind of weird. I don't really know how I feel about. Well, go ahead.
It's also because Xbox decided to go with weaker APUs than Sony on the last two consoles with the PS5 and with the Xbox One and the Xbox Series.
I think I'm just surprised how much they lost between generations. Like, PlayStation had its problems and was able to recover. Nintendo's a little bit different because the way they recover is more based around the idea around the console than sometimes the console itself.
Right.
So it's a little bit different. But Xbox, once to me you came out with like a powerful enough console, I figured there would be some level of balance restored, but it never really fucking happened. They just kept losing. Which is why people kind of came to the conclusion it's gotta be the fucking games. Because Xbox has always had a weaker like fan base in the terms of the games that they play. Right? That's why we make the joke that like if you want a shooty bang bang game, you buy an Xbox console because that's all they fucking play over there.
Well, yeah, and also like I said, also as I mentioned before, up until about 2009 and 2010, the ports to the PS3 for those AAA titles were shit.
Yeah, the AAA Xbox.
I mean, God.
During Xbox One was
people,
like one of the worst
people played COD
experiences.
4 so much on the 360 that it and if you compare, I mean, we got to have like fucking Digital Foundry go back and try to understand like what was the difference between the real difference in terms of performance between the 360 and the PS3 version, and there must be a huge gap because that game, like I said, ran like ass back in 07 on that console. So but still, I mean, okay, and of course the PS3 wasn't immune to its faults either because you have the yellow light of death. Also, it also has a very bad design in terms of the interface to the Blu-ray drive, because the Blu-ray drive uses a flat connector, the type of connector like an LVDS type connector that you would find on like a laptop screen. Problem is, if anybody that has ever worked on those types of connectors, once the door flap comes off of the fucking board, you're done. You can't use it anymore because it cannot clamp the pin. They can't clamp the pin down to the cable anymore. And I know this because I fucking did it to the garbage PS3 that I found.
To be fair, the PS3 was the only console I've had to physically open up and fix something in it because the fucking Blu-ray laser wouldn't read any of my discs anymore. So I actually had to physically open it up and void the warranty that had expired years ago to fucking replace the stupid Blu-ray. And granted, it was like $20. It wasn't nothing crazy. But it did show me that these consoles don't really age as well.
No.
The hardware isn't as good, so they don't last as long, which I think is kind of true for a lot of modern technology. I mean, people have been saying that about cars for the longest. Like
even I'll give you another example. Trying to get a PS1 laser assembly that actually works properly is also very difficult.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me at all. I guess I'm switching between the two, and I'm mainly sticking with these two because Nintendo was kind of traditional up until the GameCube, and then things kind of got thrown out the window with the Wii. The Wii was such a different fucking experience.
But
What?
in the end, it was actually one of the best consoles that they ever made because of the way that it was hacked, and also the way that, because if you think about it this way, and also even if it wasn't hacked, it still was their most backwards compatible system they ever produced.
No, I agree. Well, I mean, the Wii U was pretty good backwards compatibility wise.
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, I still enjoy mine. I mean, I was one of the few that actually bought it with my own money, but I would still say that the Wii U today, and that's one of the main reasons why you see a lot of videos on it, because it's a freaking underrated console. Just imagine this, right? Yeah, thank you, Donnie. Thank you for the golf clapping. It's because of the fact that you have. I mean, here's the thing. People tend to forget that you can play Wii games on the gamepad by itself with a Wiimote because it has the IR built in. It was a truly portable system that was prototyping the Switch and the way that it did. And of course, I still like the idea of having two screens on an actual full.
I don't even think it was I don't think it was a bad idea. I think what hurt the Wii U was always a weird case because if you talk to people who own the console, most people would tell you they had a generally positive experience with the console. The console's biggest problem was of how it was presented, when it was presented, and then how it was marketed, or the failure of marketing is what I really should say.
Right.
Which is why I get mad when people talk about how great the PS4 like killed everyone in the beginning. I'm like, no, you got lucky.
No.
You got lucky because the other two console manufacturers fucked up marketing their console.
Between the both of them, yeah.
Between the Wii U, people not realizing it was a new console and not an extension to the Wii, and the Xbox telling people to go buy the 360 because, internet connection. Like, I don't want to. I always hated the idea that PlayStation was always like ahead. For at least for the 4, the 4 got extremely lucky. It got extremely lucky that your other two competition blundered. And I'll give them credit. They were smart enough to capitalize on Xboxes. They dog walked the fuck out of that. And I think that was half of the reason why they sold as well as they did. They made Microsoft a joke before the console came out.
Yep.
And so it became, well, why the fuck would you get why would you get an Xbox One? The name is dumb. The fucking, you got to be always online. Because even though they reversed it, the rhetoric was already out there. Like
and also from a technical standpoint,
it was a weaker system.
You still need to be online in order to activate the console. You cannot use an Xbox One, any Xbox One console without connecting to the internet once. Basically, it's a brick. So that means that if you dust off an Xbox One in about 15 years, it's not going to work.
Donnie, were you going to say something? Sorry,
what are you going to say, Donnie?
No, I was just agreeing. Yeah, pretty much they killed themselves right there when they did all that stuff for Xbox.
Now, my question then has to go: how do we feel about the PS4 as a console overall? Because even though it's viewed as the winner of that generation, which, to be fair, in terms of sales of the console, it was. Like, it beat the Xbox One and it dog walked the Wii U, obviously, in terms of sales. I guess this is a two-way, you can view this two ways. Either as a sequel to the PS3, how do you view it? And then how do you view it as a console by itself?
Before Sony decided to do what they did years later, I'd say, in terms of actually having games I wanted, the PS4 did a lot more than what the PS3 did. Like all those Senran Kagura games.
You weak bastard. You weak bastard. Well, I view it as a step backwards because it was the first console not to have backwards compatibility with discs.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it this way, a launch PS3 could play every single game because it had hardware compatibility with both PS2 and PS1.
Yeah.
And then they literally took that away.
To be fair, I think that was also partially because of how PS3 games were, is what made it impossible. But I am surprised they didn't try to at least with PS2 or PS1 games for the fuck of it.
Yeah, they decided to. They decided to get rid of the PS2 backwards compatibility just to keep PS1 for all the future revisions of the PS3.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is, you cannot play PS1 games in 240p on a PS3 at all. Now this means that you won't have a problem. You won't have the Chrono Cross problem if you try to use it with an upscaler. But then it becomes a problem of now you have to play all the games in fucking 480p, and it looks like shit.
Navy's point: it didn't improve too much upon the PS3 outside of power and graphics. The library only grew later on in its life.
I agree with that.
But I still think the PS3 has the bigger library overall, though. I thought.
Yes, and if you also count the ones that are in the PlayStation Store, like for example, they re-released all the Mega Man PS like a lot of the PS1 titles digitally, like the Mega Man, like the Rock Band,
You mean the X
like
series?
remasters.
Yeah,
No,
the X
no,
series.
well, not the X series. No, I'm talking about the original ones.
Oh, the OG.
The PS,
Okay.
the PS1 enhancements of like 4, 5, and 6, for example.
And some of the X games, since some of the later ones did get ported to the PS1.
Yeah, I think like Mega Man X4, X5.
Yeah.
It's weird because I don't want to act. I want to act like the PS4 didn't have anything for me as much as I would say the PS4 just didn't have a lot. You know what? It didn't have anything that was uniquely PlayStation 4. I guess is the best way I can describe it. Like it doesn't feel like it have its own identity. It very much. I think it's the most. Oh, we went up a number kind of console that we ever had. Like the 3 from the 2 was a pretty crazy jump in multiple different ways. But the 4 to me just felt like an extension of the 3 without calling it a 3. Also, it's fine, Boom. It's. I hope your sister's car is at least working functional at this point. But no, I don't. The 4 to me is such a weird fucking console because I don't think it's bad. It's just it doesn't have a lot going on. It was also around the time it became painfully like, and to be fair, the PS3 was also doing this, but it felt like it became painfully obvious that Sony had a new way of handling how it did IPs and games. Certain IPs got left with the PS3, and the ones that carried over were on their like final games. Like we haven't seen Infamous since Second Son on the PlayStation 4. Fucking Uncharted after that DLC that came out. I'm trying to think of how much even carried over from the PS3.
Well, I will also say.
Well, I guess Last of Us would be another one.
The PS4 era killed Gran Turismo.
Oh yeah.
No way.
Yeah. It's yeah, I know what he means. Yeah, the Gran Turismo series, the next few games for that one, yeah, they weren't that great.
Yeah, Sport, and 7 have no offline mode.
Yep, always
like,
online.
Like the simulation mode. Yeah, so Gran Turismo 7 has a problem where it needs to be connected online all the time, and you cannot play simulation mode offline. Which is stupid because every single major version or revision of Gran Turismo or iteration had a simulation mode that you could play offline. Even Gran Turismo 5 and 6 on the PS3. Even though 6 had those fucking microtransactions, but at least you could actually play the fucking game offline in a single player. You can't even fucking do that with 7.
Also, Goki, don't even. The fact that you mentioned Last of Us Remastered is a problem within itself. I think Sony has the record for the gap between a game's original release and a remaster. Like that shit is offensive to me. Like what the fuck? Why? Actually, because Last of Us 1 has a remaster and a remake. That's the other problem. And when you think about that game only being that game is originally a late, like a end of the. Like 2013, like the last fucking year of the PlayStation 3 game.
Right.
In the course of a little over a decade, has had a remaster and a remake like relatively close to each other. Last of Us has been on every fucking console since the PS3 as a remaster or remake. And I'm just kind of like, guys, y'all have like a fuck ton of IPs. Why is this the title? And I say this even though they did do Medieval. And I know people have their jokes about haha Medieval. But I appreciated that remake mainly because it at least acknowledged that they knew they had their past at all. Because I think as people make jokes about Nintendo forgetting certain IPs, Sony forgets a fuck ton of their IPs that no one ever brings up.
Yeah.
And I find it a little weird that the games, but I also think Sony very much fell into what I call like the societal pressure of like the modern gaming industry, where everything has to be like a fucking artistic or ultra realistic kind of game. Otherwise, it doesn't get any fucking respect.
Yeah,
Like,
because everything has to. Yeah, because everything has to be a freaking movie now.
now,
An interactive video game, like a freaking movie.
I don't want to talk about the Xbox One's opinions because that was such a fucking train wreck. The only good thing I think that came out of that was maybe the Xbox One S or the X.
The X, I would say.
The
The
X was
Xbox One X is
okay,
good. Yeah.
but god damn it, it took you too long.
Yeah, it took them way too long,
It's-
and it actually as far as like a media as far as like a media standpoint goes, it actually is one of the best to actually own because it actually plays a lot of stuff, and it's a very valuable media player. And if you get a developer account for like $20, you can run RetroArch on it, and it runs it pretty well. Not as good as the series, like S or X, but it still runs pretty good.
I think that one, which then kind of brings us to our modern generation, right?
Yay.
With it being the PS5, the Xbox Series X, I'm using the best version of the console, so I'm not. That's why I'm not bringing up Series S, Series
Right.
X, PS5, and I guess it'd be Switch OLED if we were talking about the best version of the console.
Yeah.
I don't. So this is the Series X being my first Xbox console. Period. I don't really have any problems or like issues with it other than like modern gaming issues, like the fact that since we gotta fucking install games now, which we've been doing since technically the PS4 made you do it.
Yes. There
So
were install discs.
yeah, where you had to install discs and shit, and so the storage thing has been kind of a pain in the ass. But as far as like the UI, I know people have their opinions of the UI. I don't really mind the UI for the Series X. I'm gonna be real with y'all.
You don't mind that TV looking UI?
I mean, I'm talking about more functionality than aesthetics. Like I get it aesthetically, it's not fucking like the prettiest thing in the world, but it functions. I can
Yeah.
I can get to
And
shit
also,
pretty easily.
yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like I gotta
Yeah.
shift through fucking menus to get to
Oh,
basic
Well,
features.
and
It-
also you could still upload Windows. You could upload the Windows apps on there. Like I said, RetroArch and other things like getting developer accounts. So in a way, it kind of the Xbox Series and the Xbox One has kind of deterred the hackers because most of the hackers want to play other games on it, and with the developer account, you don't need to do that. So it's kind of like it kind of quiets them down. It's like, okay, we're gonna put this thing into a sandbox. It's a little bit less powerful, but you can still run your shit in. Instead of other places where they fucking brute force it because you take shit away.
Donnie,
That's what happens when you have GeoHot fucking doing the PS3 shit. Go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, I'd say compared to how the Xbox One's original UI looked, yeah, the latest version does look a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, but like as an overall console, it's probably the most content I've been looking at any Xbox console in a while. I think the only other Xbox console I didn't mind was the OG one. The problem is by the time I found out about the OG Xbox, it was fucking the 360 was already out, so I had no real reason to double back. And then the 360 soured, in my opinion, on Xbox as a brand for fucking years. And the Xbox One, if anything, just made me feel sorry for them, which is a very weird position to find yourself in, where you dislike something and then you just feel bad for them because they just over here taking L's. Like, people could say what they want about the Wii U, but bitch, I had first party games I fucking loved and enjoyed on that console. What the fuck were you playing? Rise, Son of Rome? Like, what the fuck? Were you playing Alan Wake? That's terrible.
Yeah. Or you're playing The Crew, which you can't even play anymore because they turn off the fucking server.
That's crazy considering that game isn't that fucking old. But
Yeah, and then they wanted then they remove that shit from your inventory because they can't play the game anymore. So you paid $60 for a game and you can't even play it anymore, and they take it away from you.
Goki, I don't know how much I believe the whole Series S makes developing games harder because it's weaker argument. Because I feel like
That just means developers got lazy though.
yeah,
Don't wanna...
yeah.
Because here's the thing: Here's the thing. It's
You're just
basically like a
downscaling it
PC
realistically.
it's a PC mindset because you have to remember that developing games for the PC is kind of the same way, where you have to take into account that there's going to be a minimum requirement, and you have to put like different modes, different graphical modes, so that it can run. That's been the case for this new generation. You think about it this way: you have Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? On the PS5, you have different modes. You have the performance mode, and you have the what is it? The visual
Graphics.
Graphics.
the graphics mode, which runs at 30, while the performance mode runs at less fidelity, but it runs at 60.
Yeah.
So, it's a similar thing. It's a similar mindset, but you have to remember that PC developing games for the PC has been like that forever. Since the dawn of fucking PC time.
Yeah, of course.
And plus,
Yeah.
sometimes they would back then they would usually just develop stuff on the PS2 first, then port it over to the Xbox and GameCube.
Yeah, and that's why games.
Yeah, because they always talk about like the lead platform, which weirdly enough has been coming up in weird situations like Sega, who for some reason has made the Switch their lead platform on certain games, and you're just like, guys, like, and that's no offense to the Switch, but let's be real here. Power wise, it's a pretty decent gap. It's kind of weird. Like, actually, Capcom did the same thing with and they're doing it mainly with games that start on Switch and then branch out because people were like, "Oh God, Monster Hunter Rise is finally on other consoles." And then they looked at, man, this doesn't look that much better. I'm like, yeah, because all they did was just clean up the fucking Switch version. It wasn't like you were about to get a whole new fucking game. Like,
well, we're not. To be fair, there's some cases where that wasn't the case, where The Witcher 3 was on PC and other consoles before.
Well, that was some wizardry. That's everyone. Everyone who looks at the Switch version of
downporting.
Yeah, that's some wizardry. Like, how the fuck did you get that to work? Like, because
the same thing can go for like Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah.
As well.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. The thing is though, you think about it this way. Freaking Nintendo has, for a very long time, has not gone x86. They've either used ARM, or they used PowerPC. Yeah, because PowerPC was with the Wii and the Wii U and the GameCube as well. It's kind of interesting. I do not think, and I think that the next Switch has to be based off of ARM so that they can have the backwards compatibility with Switch. But I would not be surprised if we might have maybe like ARM X1 cores in the next Switch, because those for those not familiar, if you look at high like spec like Snapdragon SoCs these days, like the 8 Gen 3, they usually have like X1 cores, and then was it A810s, and then you have like the 510s or 520s, and then you have like different sorts of things like that. I would imagine that whatever SoC that Nintendo wants to use in this, and Nvidia is probably going to be on board again just to make things easier. I think we're going to have one of the first times where you might have flagship on ARM cores on a game console. Because you might have an X1 core, and then the rest might be like A520 or A720. Who knows? But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that good, because it's probably going to be like 2-year-old design or 3-year-old.
Yeah, Nintendo's very much is stuck with this whole getting the most out of old hardware.
Yeah,
which has worked to varying degrees. I think it mainly worked more so with the Wii and the Switch. The Wii U very much was. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go back over that again. The question though, because the big concern people have is, what power wise, what are we looking at here? Like, is it going to at least be better than the OG PS4? Or are we looking at like?
It might. If I had to take a shot in the dark, it will probably be more similar to. Maybe it'll take some aspects of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, like in terms of like the power. Because if we look at the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, for example, and that design, by the way, is 3 years old at this point, probably from 2021. So let's give it the benefit of the doubt that you'll have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or a Gen maybe Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, yeah, it's Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. Which if we look at the spec sheet, it has, let's see. I know it has an X1. I know it has like one X1 core. Because if I look at it this way, because you gotta look at freaking.
The reason why I bring this up is because let's be real here. One of the biggest struggles I think Nintendo fans had during the Switch generation. If you were someone who didn't jump on Nintendo consoles until the Switch, you probably had a fine time for the most part.
Right.
But if you were someone who's been on Nintendo consoles before, there are various issues that people had. For example, if you were a Wii U owner, it felt like the Switch was actively punishing you in like every fucking thing. Oh,
Right.
you bought these games on the Wii U? Nah, buy them again at a slightly higher price on the Switch. Or it was like, oh, you know all those cool things the old Wii and 3DS consoles do? Nah, we don't have any of that. Because it felt like a lot of Nintendo fans are very weird about how their consoles, in the sense that the Wii to me, although had its problem, and even the Wii U, are charming consoles. When you cut those bitches on and Mi Plaza pops up and you fucking see all your friends and people, even Nintendo fans still talk about Miiverse like religiously.
Right.
It felt like we lost a lot of that with the Switch because Nintendo's only focus was making a console that sold. And as a business, understanding the business, I understand that was the most important thing for them. It's like, we need to get a console out that is making fucking money, because we just sold 13 million consoles off of a system that's been out since 2012 and it's 2016. Like, I get it. It's been like 4 fucking years and we need to make some real money off of this shit. And we got these amazing games that are just stuck on this system. That's why they took an L on backwards compatibility and said, listen, we can't fucking do it because we need something to hit. We need something that hits, and we need something, and we can't hold ourselves to that standard. And I hope now that they're in a better place, brand recognition wise, between the notoriety from the movie and the other things they're getting into on top of the Zelda film that's coming out in the future. Like, and then on top of the fact that their console at this point, I think, is number, what is it? Is it number 4?
3?
Is it 3?
Yeah.
Best selling
Third
console?
place.
So it's behind what, the DS, and then it's in the PS2, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah.
Because the DS is at what, 150?
Yeah, 153, I think.
And then the PS2 is at what?
155. But if you believe Sony, they'll tell you, oh, it's actually at 160. We just pulled those number out of our ass somewhere.
So
they want it because they think Nintendo, it's gonna be way harder for Nintendo to hit 160 versus hitting like 156 or some shit.
So if we look back at what the original, if we look at the ARM breakdown, the ARM CPU breakdown of the Tegra X1 used in the Switch, we have 4 A57 cores and 4 A53 cores, which realistically, those are 2 energy efficient SoC cores, because they're not even A7X, so they're not even that like powerful. I would imagine that maybe, because if we go off of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, for example, you're gonna have, I would imagine that maybe there could be a possibility that we might have like 4 A710 cores and 4 A510 cores. If they go at least the A7X route, then at least they'll have more power. But I don't think how much power.
Yeah, what would you compare it to for what we have out now? Like, would it even be comparable to like a Steam Deck, for example?
No, oh hell no. No, hell no, because that's an x86 APU. That thing will still run laps. The only way that the Nintendo could boast that it could be faster than the PS4 is if they stick like X2 cores, which are amazingly powerful cores. because that would mean that you would have double the cores that are inside of a
But it's
Snapdragon 8 Gen 1.
but it'd be very un Nintendo like considering
No, because it would be expensive.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
So I don't think so. I don't think so. Personally, the GPU has to do all the heavy lifting. I do not think. I honestly think is they would have to do a mix of A7X and A5X cores, so 5XX cores, so A710 at least, or A510 cores, to be at least somewhat competitive to even like mid-range smartphones at this point, or yeah, mid to high range smartphones at this point, because we have to think about it this way. If Nintendo wants to continue with this whole mobile gaming mindset, they are going to have to obviously spend money and obviously put better cores into their products.
And to be fair, when the Switch came out in 2017, the competition was nowhere near as rough in that market as it is now. And there's been decent strides in terms of quality, because I think Nintendo was overly paranoid. Like when people who tore down the Switch realized, damn, they downclocked the fuck out of this, and they did that intentionally because they were so concerned about overheating and shit. Which I appreciate the concern, but people were like, bro, you could overclock this and get better performance out of certain games. Like realistically, we didn't have. Well, go ahead.
Well, that also explains why when what was it, when Yuzu was ported over to Android before it got shut down, once they found a way to run native code execution NCE on it, it just blew the Switch performance out of the water, because you have much powerful CPUs, much powerful SoCs emulating this and actually running the same code on it, and it really is quite a shame now, considering. But then again, though, you have to remember that this was back in 2017. Well, it's a design from 2015.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not that bad, but it's proof that with native code execution on ARM, you can pretty much do anything with the Switch software. You don't need Horizon OS on it or whatever. But if Nintendo wants to claim that they're faster than the PS4, then they will have to at least be on par with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, in my opinion.
How much? My question is, how much you think they would charge for the system, and how much you think they'd be willing to go? Because remember, we're at $500 systems now, like a norm, which is funny because we're making fun of the damn. We're making fun of the. Did I just get a follow? What the fuck was that? Oh no, I got a subscription. I haven't seen that fucking GIF in so long. Thank you for the subscription. It threw me off because I'm so used to not getting that. No, what I was gonna say is Nintendo has been very Nintendo. So we're at $500 consoles going into borderline 600, right? And we made fun of that for the PS3 back in the day because it was so crazy to hear $599 US. But we're pretty fucking close to that as a standard now. Also, thank you for the late birthday wishes, Mr. Vati. I appreciate it. Sorry, go ahead.
So I would say that if Nintendo wants to charge $450 for this next console, for example, they are going to have to bump it up quite a bit. Now, notwithstanding.
Well, do you think do you think they would go that far? I guess is the first question.
They would not. I will bet you some money that they will not put any X cores on a Nintendo console. That is too much.
Right.
That would be too much money.
Right.
I could see them do a quad core, like I said, a quad core A7XX, either 710 or 720, with four of those maybe clocked to 2.5 or 2.6 gigahertz, because you could use those for the high end cores to play on the docked mode or something, while they'll have another quad core like A520 or A510 that can be used as efficiency cores for mobile, maybe clocked at anywhere between maybe 1.5 and 2.2 gigahertz,
So
depending on how much it is.
so
Yeah.
pricing wise, how high do you think they would go, or be willing to go?
4 or 450 would probably be safe to bet. But it
Yeah,
will have to. But here's the thing. I think once again they would have to put more effort into the GPU rather than the CPU. Again.
yeah. The question
But
then,
yeah.
the question is, are people gonna be okay spending 450 for a Switch with that? If we go with TSS's theory, with that power set, I guess, to where,
Mhm.
because essentially I mean, to be fair, you're paying for a mobile PS4 at that point in terms of power. If we go with that idea, which isn't a terrible premise, right?
Right.
That I could take. Essentially, I have a borderline PS4 level quality game on the go, which is already kind of what people want to do with fucking the
I
Steam
mean,
Deck anyway, and various other handheld devices you
well,
can use.
if it could look as good as maybe like Genshin Impact on high settings, and I would
Yeah,
say
they'll
that's
finally
pretty
get
good.
Genshin.
Finally get fucking Genshin
Yeah,
on it.
we're not
Yeah,
gonna keep this. Also,
4 years.
also, what's up, Landon Zilla? Fucking, I mean, shit.
Technically, technically, you could run Genshin on a freaking RK35.
I just don't want it to be a situation where they go too high and people are like, I don't know if I want to spend this kind of money on.
Well, if they find a way to get like I said that specific those specific ARM cores, the A710 or the A510, and they get it down to a price point. If they can get it to $350, that would be fucking crazy.
I can't see. To be fair, because remember when the Switch Lite came out, that it came out how aggressively Nintendo was trying to keep that at
$200.
yeah. And I heard
But
they,
to be fair though, that was already released. That was already released like 2 years into the cycle,
yeah.
and by that point, A57 and A53 cores are cheap. I mean, fuck. You look at anything that Ambernick has put out with the All Winter H700. That's a quad core A53, and they're able to get that into fucking $50 and $60 devices. So you are, and let's not discount the RK3566 either, which are 4 A55 cores, and they're on devices that cost 60 to $100. So I can imagine that they can get a quad core in there, and get the components where $350 or $400 seems reasonable. It'll just be like what is going to be the makeup, and how is NVIDIA
Plus
if NVIDIA's
higher development costs equals less variety of games equals less worldwide appeal.
Yes.
I mean, realistically, Nintendo. I think people are at this point just kind of curious to see Nintendo. Remember, it took the Wii U until we got HD Nintendo games, right? And that was fucking 2013. All right, like
yeah.
My question: do you think we're still gonna get?
We're not gonna get 4K. Hell no.
Yeah, we'll get DLSS though.
Do you think
DLSS? Yes.
Do you think we get upscaling?
They already used a bit of it in like Xenoblade 3 and
yes, they used the DLSS.
I'm still waiting for you to pick me up in Ohio so we can.
Yeah, DLSS is going to make the big difference here. But seriously though, if Nintendo can do it, they need to have at least one Cortex X2 or higher CPU on their makeup, and then they'll have maybe they'll have a X2, then 3 A710s, and then 4 A510s, because they need something that can pop over 3 gigahertz if they have any shot in getting some decent performance out of, like, even if it's single threaded, to make it viable. Because here we are in 2024, where we have where you could buy a phone for about you could buy a used S22 or S23 for like $400, and those have like Snapdragon 8 Gen 2s and then 3. I mean, fuck, the Odin 2, which has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is even more powerful than the one I just mentioned, and that's $300, and it has 8 gigs of RAM. and it runs Android.
Yeah.
So I don't think now obviously that's Snapdragon Note, so it's not going to be Nvidia. So it's a different
Yeah,
thing, 'cause
that's TSS
Mali
talking,
GPU.
Lando.
Yeah, so that's like a Mali GPU and everything like that. But Nvidia, but see, that's the thing. I don't know what Nintendo's mindset is. Are they going to prioritize GPU power over the SoC
I would
itself, or yeah?
I would hope GPU, because one of the things I feel like we kind of lost is like, I'll be real with you, the Wii U had its problems, but the Wii U had a lot of like 60 FPS games, and we kind of lost a lot of that for this like sub 1080p fucking. We had to take a bunch of compromises because of the nature of the system. And although people understood it because of what we were getting into, and this was the first console of theirs that did this, for a sequel, people will want some of those quality improvements back. This also goes into smaller things like the fucking Joy-Cons, which has its own mess of fucking issues that we need to properly. That is probably one of the worst things that came out of the Switch generation in terms of control. I fuck with the Pro Controller, but my God, the Joy.
It's a problem with the industry. It's a problem with the industry.
Yeah, because they all use the same. They all technically use the same like analog sticks.
Well, that's until about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when Hall sensor joysticks actually started to come onto the market. So, for example, you can buy a Gillikit replacement Hall sensor sticks for the Switch now for like $20 off of Ali. And then that will never drift ever.
Which is funny because Sega had done that with the Dreamcast, and unfortunately the Dreamcast failed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Go ahead, Johnny.
But yeah, if they were to just go Hall effects, that would actually fix a lot of the issues.
Yeah.
Do you think the Joy-Cons need to be modified structurally, other than because I've heard people talk about the railing system, right? Because of how it currently works, where that plastic nub that's supposed to be the release eventually wears off over time, and the shit just doesn't work anymore. And eventually your Switch could just easily just slip out of the railing. But people have made the argument if you use them like a metal thing instead of a plastic thing, that you then run the risk of like rust and wear over time anyway. And also just in terms of the button layout, like realistically, you have to keep the mobility of the Switch, but I almost feel like you need to curve those Joy-Cons to a degree. Not a lot, just enough to feel like you could. The bitch is so flat. Unless you buy like a grip or something, it's such a flat thing to hold, and it feels very like weird, like you're picking up a fucking tablet with like barehanded with like no case. Also, I need a D-pad. I need a quality D-pad because we're not doing this goofy shit anymore with these fucking 4 buttons. That was probably one of the worst things we got. Why is it that your 2 competitors have better D-pads than you? Like offensive. Like that to me, that's offensive.
Last time there was a 4-button D-pad was with the Vita.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. No offense to the Vita.
No, well, no, because technically, though, I mean those are dome switches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, technically those are dome switches, so those work fine. I mean, actually, I would argue that dome switches.
Yoki, chill out. Don't turn that into something it's not. I don't know. I think the Joy-Cons need to change, not a lot, but just a little bit. Like the analog sticks obviously need to be switched out. Do we care that much about analog triggers? I know there's been various conversations about this, especially with obviously. Go ahead.
For some games, yeah.
Yes.
If you could switch them between analog and
what if they made
like,
them? What if you made them? What if you made the Joy-Cons modular, where you could kind of like switch out pieces to fit whatever gaming experience you wanted? Kind of like how the Elite Xbox controller is like, and then I think
Well,
PlayStation also has their own variant of it. I forget what it's called.
one of the I would say though that at the bare minimum, Nintendo should be able to allow you to select the mode for the analog triggers, because technically you cannot put those on those Joy Cons, because those are micro switch buttons. There's no fucking way. That's always going to be a digital input. So they have to keep some sort of, but then again though, that means also developers will have to develop for both um, those digital type L2 and R2, or ZL and ZR in this case, and ones that have the analog. Now, if that's an option, then great. But you're not. But you have to keep that so that people with Joy Cons can still play the games, because otherwise, that won't really work. Because you'll either have, because if you have it as full analog, the analog values don't exist in digital. Digital is either
So maybe the
one or
compromise is
zero.
having the Pro Controller have analog sticks on them. Then I mean, yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be like that one
Analog.
ghoulie
analog
kid.
triggers. My bad. Say
Well,
what?
I mean, technically, you already have that. I mean, you could buy the 8-bit Ultimate controller, not
Well,
Sonic.
yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about I'm talking about Nintendo selling the customers their Pro Controller with analog triggers.
Uh, it depends on how much they're willing to actually spend on it.
Well, if it's the Pro Controller, I feel like the Pro Controller should be allowed that luxury. Because it's not something you need to buy, but most people are going to buy because people fuck with traditional controllers.
If
Although-
they're gonna do that, they're gonna have to make it like those 8-bit ones, where you're gonna have Hall sensor, analog sticks, and triggers.
It'll be
Okay,
like
I
the
get it.
Wii days where we got those Pro controllers with actual handles, and the ones that didn't have them.
It's also weird to me that
Classic.
the Wii situation was always interesting to me because you managed to
Yeah.
make an untraditional controller comfortable. But I feel like with the Switch, it just didn't happen. Because I don't know how many people who play the Switch in the OG way you played the Switch, like with no one didn't buy any grips or any extra little product. You just played it this flat ass Switch with two Joy Cons on the side, and you just played it like I don't know anybody who just plays it like that.
I usually crisscross my hands because that was a lot more comfortable.
What do you mean wait, what do you mean? Like you did like you had your right hand on your left and your left hand on your right and you grabbed the
Yeah.
controller? How did that wasn't uncomfortable for you?
Nah. it's not
Really?
comfortable.
I'm trying
Yeah,
I'm if you see my screen on the stream, I'm doing the motion. Is it like you held the console where you're on your left hand on your left side was your right hand grabbing the left side and your left hand on your right side was
Just the Joy-Con separately.
Oh.
Not on
Oh,
there.
okay. Oh, I got
Okay,
you.
that makes way more sense because
So
my
he
brain,
swapped it. Yeah, he swapped it.
Yeah.
huh?
Okay.
Yeah,
I
for
never-
some games it was pretty comfortable just doing that. It's like, yeah.
I wish they made the Joy-Cons a little bit more comfortable to hold. Not like I don't think you need to do a lot to them. You just need to do something. I just don't like. Why was the Wiimote fine for me to hold for like over an hour without any problems? But like,
Because it was like a remote.
but you can't really do the same thing with the Switch
No.
Joy-Cons because it's actually holding up a tablet. I think that's the other problem. You're holding a tablet up. And realistically, I don't even think they've done any. Is there even any like specialty thing you can do for like iPads and shit that like works in a similar way?
Yes, but those require like getting a fucking telescopic controller and breaking it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The way he's described it.
Well, yeah, because for example, I have another product here, the GameSir X2S, which you can do that if you break it. It actually comes apart, and then you can actually expose the springs in it, and then you can actually put like a freaking Galaxy Tab like 6S and shit, at like 6 or 8, Galaxy Tab 8, and play that like a 14-inch tablet. But then the mechanism, the spring mechanism, doesn't spring back.
Yeah, my hand starts cramping up after a minute of playing in handheld. Yeah, I think it's just because you're holding a tablet, but like you can't make it way
Well,
less.
yeah, the way because I get kind of the same way.
I
That's
am
why
excited for
that's why I can't
Brothership,
play.
Gojimon. We still don't know who's developing the game, and it's driving me nuts.
Hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, because I have the same. I have
What the hell
issues
is
playing
that?
with a P. That's why I have issues playing with a
Oh, thank you
PS4
for the
controller
subscription,
because the handle.
Gojimon. Sorry.
Yes, no, it's fine. Because I have a problem playing with the PS4 controller because the handles are at an angle where it hurts my wrists. Now the way that I get behind the Switch or don't have the problem with the Switch is that I have to play the Switch when it's angled at like 45 degrees so that my wrists aren't straight up.
Is there? I think the problem is I don't know how you improve that whole experience. Like I can't think of a way you would improve that experience. Like what do you do to make holding a tablet with two controllers on your side more comfortable without like sacrificing something important? Like I can't.
Well, Hori made freaking like
The grips are like the
the
only thing I
grips.
could think is giving the
Well, no,
Joy-Con.
no, those are no, they're actual like they're actual controller halves that you can put onto the rails, and those are a good improvement.
So yeah,
And Hori makes
there
those.
needs to
Yeah,
be some level of modification to the Joy-Cons. I think that's the short version of it all. I,
Yeah, we need the 2.0 Joy-Con.
I will say the improvements to like the kickstand they did with the OLED, I think was a good overall improvement. I don't really have any issues with the tablet itself the way it's designed.
right.
Metal railings on the side. Uh, the OLED improvements I think are pretty strong overall. Um,
However, though, there is something against having metal rails, and that's because those warp
but do you,
and they
Oh, yeah,
deform.
with heat. Yeah.
so my question.
And
But
yeah,
what else could you have used?
it's not really
Well,
anything
some
else. Plastic.
people,
I mean, go ahead.
Well, I thought
some
plastic would be
people,
worse.
some people would consider that if you use magnetic railings or something.
Oh yeah, magnets.
Yeah.
I mean, that works.
Do magnets wear out over time though, or no?
No,
Of course,
no.
everything does, but it takes longer.
Yeah, I
Way,
mean,
way longer.
yeah, like having having a magnet lose magnetism takes much longer than having a piece of metal wear out.
Do you think the only improvement we would do to the tablet is just change the metal railings to magnetic railings?
Yeah, but they would also have to have some sort of
But they would have to
like
be pretty strong to hold up the
yeah, they would
tablet.
have to yeah, they would have to be pretty strong so that you don't accidentally pull it.
I think the concern was that it would that it wouldn't be. I guess the failure rate of them accidentally dropping it through like certain actions is a lot higher
Yeah, that's much higher, yeah.
with a magnetic versus using like an actual just rail where it's like, oh,
Right.
that's a metal fucking rail. You can't just
Mhm.
break that like casually.
Right.
Also hate six lenses. I don't know what else you could do. I'm fine with the vent being on top. I think that's the bit. You have a headphone jack port. The card
Yeah.
thing's on top.
What about the charging spot? Think it should be at the top or it can stay at the bottom?
See,
Bottom.
well, because you're docking it. I think that's the problem. Like,
Yeah, because the problem is USB-C on the top won't work because then it will have to be like the fucking Steam Deck dock, which is you have to get an extra cable and you have to fucking plug it in and
yeah, the problem is I don't think we'll ever get. It'll never be perfect because you have to. There are certain concessions you have to make for it being a tablet, like it being a handheld tablet that you dock in to play it on television. Like I don't think you can.
right.
Where else would you put it? It's either gotta go at the top or the bottom, unless you're gonna flip it upside down. I don't know
Hmm.
if considering your fucking. That's also where the vent is. That doesn't seem smart.
Well, and also they don't want to make the same mistake that fucking ROG did, where the fucking Ally fucking was burning SD cards up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you change where you put the micro SD card slot?
No,
So you're
that
fine
is
with
like
where it is.
that is like the perfect slot, because it's away from the fan and it's also away from the well, it's away from any components that get hot.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to access too.
Indeed.
So then the last.
And it doesn't have a fucking door that will break off.
So the last thing we need to address then is the dock itself.
Right.
What do we do to it? Because I do
The
like
Switch OLED stock, and then we'll be
The
good.
Switch OLED dock, and that's it. Done.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I have the OLED dock is probably the best. I'm pretty fine with.
Yeah.
Do you think they do anything extra, like try to make it more powerful through the dock?
Well, not really, because remember, most of it's just passive components.
No, I
So-
mean like, do you see them trying to like beef the dock up by being like, oh, if you get like the dock has some sort of mechanism that allows it to like add more power to the
Well, no, because the
or increase cooling.
So, I mean, the only time I think Nintendo would ever do something like that is last time they did it with the N64. Then there was a Super Nintendo and the NES that had those extra components to do extra stuff. But if they wanted to do that with the Switch, I don't think they would for a successor.
No, and also you have to remember that anything that breaks out of the dock, like I said, it's just an interface. It's just a USB-C interface.
Yeah.
So it all depends. It all depends on what it supports, and what the chipset supports. So realistically, I mean, the only thing that I could say is that maybe the only thing that they could probably add is maybe like a USB-C port, maybe a Thunderbolt port or something.
Don't they already have USB-C for the charger though?
Yeah, but I'm talking about like a secondary.
Oh. You know what you could
Because here's the thing though. I mean, I don't think ARM CPUs cannot like address like eGPUs, but you never know. But maybe it could be another accessory that they can possibly do.
Yeah, because the OLED dock has the two USB ports on the side, and then you have the Ethernet port that was added. I don't really think there's anything else
No,
you
there's
can
really nothing
add
else
to
you can
keep
do,
it
yeah.
at this minimalistic design.
And, I would say though the new Switch has to have at least Wi-Fi 6E.
Oh, absolutely.
At least Wi-Fi 6E.
Also, I guess there's one other question then.
Yeah.
Do we increase the screen size and/or quality?
Want that battery to not last long?
No.
It's just the question.
The answer is no. The answer is no. Keep it 720. Because then you won't have to tax.
Do we make the OLED the standard screen?
Oh yeah, OLED has to be standard.
I'm curious if they're gonna. People have been very back and forth of whether or not Nintendo will keep doing that or not.
LCD will probably happen if they make a smaller version like the Lite.
Yeah, I expect that. But the standard, I would hope, stays OLED. The fact that
Because
they introduced it in the first place, I'm more surprised in general.
I could just imagine that the screen that they can use for the OLED can automatically just be popped into the next console, and then they don't have to worry about supply problem.
So it wouldn't look that different from the current Switch, other than some changes other than what's going on under the hood, essentially.
Correct.
Yeah, I'd say something similar to what Valve did with the Steam Deck OLED.
Well, that's a little bit different because remember, with the Steam Deck OLED, they changed the panel, and technically the new version is just a die shrink, so it's not a new APU. It's just the same APU, but it's on a die shrink, and they also increased the battery. Increasing the battery size would also probably help for Nintendo Switch 2, because we need something better than 2 to 5 hours. Or 2 to 7 hours.
So wait, no, because the OLED maxed out at what? Fucking because I think the OLED has. Well, they increased the battery with that second version of it. That wasn't anything different other than the battery change, and then the OLED kept that newer battery. So I think it went from like
No, there was also a change in the die.
oh
It was a die shrink. It was a die shrink from 20 nanometers to 16.
so the Switch 2 maxed out hours wise. I thought you could. Thanks, Donnie. I think you can get up to what 7 hours,
7, yeah.
and it depends on the game you're playing.
Well, and also remember the OLED screen. If it's black, then it means the pixels are off.
Okay,
It's the same-
gotcha.
It's the same thing with the Steam Deck OLED, where you can fucking play, and you could probably play anything at like 5 watts for like 10 to 12 hours.
It just depends on the game, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So y'all speculating the Switch too?
Well, we're just talking about things we would want to change and things that should change, and we're just going through like different aspects of the Switch. Although we're at the tail end of that, to be fair, the only other thing really is no. I think that would be it for the Switch. Actually, after the battery, I guess the question is how long does the battery need to last on average? What does the average life need to change to? Like if you're playing the most intensive game like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, what does that have to at the very? What's the average that has to last for?
I think
2.5
5 to 6 hours would be good, but I don't see that. You know, yeah, no, I can do 5
As
hours.
long as it's close
How
to
about
4
you?
hours, then I'll be good
Yeah.
for me.
I would be happy if at the minimum it will be 3 hours.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I mean, I know I'm overshooting for 5, but yeah, I could see 3 hours. That'd be fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
3
how long-
hours. 3 hours would be if you had it. If you had a very intensive game and it had to clock up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see 3 hours.
So
Yeah,
that
3 hours
means
to work. Yeah.
Also, I think they should like, at least for the design, like kind of give you that old school feel, like the Game Boy Advance S. Everybody had a Game Boy Advance SP, so I could see them doing some type of fold shit or some shit. You know, some.
I mean, to be
gimmick
fair,
like
Nintendo's always liked the dual screen technology. I just don't think you can really
No.
do that on the Switch.
No.
I mean, the Switch already kind of has a weight issue with people's hands as it is. I don't think you adding an extra screen on top of it's gonna really do you any favors.
Well, then you're gonna have the same problem as like the Ioneo Flip, where it's gonna be like fucking. It's gonna basically be like a very overpriced Nintendo DS, which they're not gonna do. They're not gonna go back.
Yeah,
to
I think there's too much.
and especially if you want backwards compatibility with the original Switch games, you're not gonna.
No,
you don't want to have that.
You would almost be hampering
Oh
yourself.
yeah, I forgot they're gonna do that backwards compatible.
I think the funny thing is that dual screen technology is one of those things that I don't think people realize how much they liked it until we got the DS, and then we're like, and then we lost it and realized,
Yeah.
fuck, you can't really
Yeah,
do
but to
this.
be
now.
fair,
Yeah.
but to be fair though, we already have smartphones and tablets that are just a giant touchscreen anyway. So realistically, people that are used to playing mobile games, the aspect ratio, which is like something along the lines of anywhere between 19 or 20 to 1 aspect ratio, 21 to 9 aspect ratio. We're talking about extra wide. There really isn't anything that can be really said about doing dual screen anymore, and in a world we live in where 1080p screens on phones can be like 2400 pixels wide.
Also, slightly off topic.
Yay.
How do you feel about the modern fold phone?
No.
I have a Fold 5. I actually like it.
What the
Honestly,
fuck? What is the? Okay, I guess my concern is longevity. That's like my biggest concern with those phones. They literally. Well, go ahead.
You go look on Jerry Rig Everything, and that's all you need.
Well,
to know.
no. Go. I thought he was gonna say something. I'll let him say something first.
Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say what you looking for into the phone, like, because basically, it's how I look at it, and by playing with it, it's just like having a tablet, like a tablet.
Yeah.
So
I
if
mean,
you don't really want to buy like an iPad or some shit like that, you get that one phone. It does basically
Yeah, I
everything.
mean, I see the appeal because, for example, you can fold it out and then it becomes a giant, like 4:3 aspect ratio screen, which is very nice. My problem is the longevity concerns with the folding mechanism, because first of all you have to have a flexible screen.
Yeah, it's
That's one.
plastic and stuff.
Also, yeah, and also you ain't getting freaking Gorilla Glass Victus on that fucking screen because it has to fold. Otherwise,
yeah.
you're gonna have, you're gonna be like, Shatter City.
Yeah,
Um,
but you got to ask yourself how long, like, how often are you going to use it to be,
well, and
folded? You know what
and
I
then
mean?
I
there's
mean,
the other,
I
and
mean,
then
if
there's
it's
the
a
other
phone,
issue
I'm gonna be using it pretty
daily.
Yeah,
consistently.
but
Yeah.
you could use the regular, because it is a phone. You could just use the regular. You don't have to unfold it. You know what I mean?
Right, but then the
It's like
problem
one
is
of
the
those.
barrier. Yeah, I'm sorry. The other problem is the barrier of entry because those phones start at like fucking $1,600 and up, and
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth that money considering that you can get a decent flagship. You can get something with the. I mean, hell, I don't even consider buying the newer flagships anyway because some of them they are mostly like over 800, $900,000 anyway. And I'm thinking to myself, with the enhancements that you would have on some of these generational leaps, you can get something that's one generation older, refurbed for about maybe 500, $600, and be happy with that. It's not really worth it to buy something new, especially if there's like issues with the manufacturing where they have to recall or you have to service it within warranty or whatever, or it's going to become a problem where you have Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 phones overheating or Snapdragon 888. And that's why I don't buy anything new high end because
I,
there might be issues with that. But continue, please.
well, I didn't have any issue yet, so
That's fine. I mean,
I mean,
I understand that.
everyone has their thing. It's just,
Yeah,
I just,
I'm.
nothing wrong with it.
I
Nothing
think
wrong with
it,
it at
I think
all.
it.
I'm just saying that the only reason I even got this phone because my phone broke, but the phone I had was like a throwaway phone anyway, so it's kind of like
Right. Okay.
I might as well get this new phone. I mean, whatever.
Okay.
Doesn't
I mean,
doesn't
I mean
matter.
that's I mean that's fine. I mean that's perfectly fine. Hey, if you have the
But if
means
you
to get it,
have
why
like
not? Yeah.
but if you already have like an up to date phone or it's like two years or some shit, like you don't really need the phone though. I would.
Yeah. I mean at that point you're
It's
buying the
more.
phone
It's
for the
almost like
features.
it's like a luxury. You're fucking
Yes.
Yeah,
around.
at that point you're just doing it
Yeah.
for luxury. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. Um but honestly I'm waiting for the foldable technology to become better with those OLED
I mean, yeah,
panels.
we're just now at the point where you can justify selling it at a. I'm not gonna say affordable, but it's more affordable than it used to be. I'll say that.
Well,
Uh,
even though even those dual screen
honestly,
devices, yeah, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
really don't think that phone should be worth $1,700.
well,
No.
But
I get why it is, but like,
I mean I get it, but I
who the
still
fuck's trying to pay that? That's my issue. Like, when you can
I mean,
go.
I mean
I
that's
mean,
I mean
even
that's why people. I mean that's why I question people. Okay, the people that buy, like, for example, the S24 Ultra, they're not buying the phone. They're buying it for the fucking cameras.
yeah,
yeah,
and
because now, well, that's where we're
and
at now. Where the major
and that
upgrade to most of these phones is just cameras.
and that selling feature is the AI because apparently the AI does a lot.
Yes,
Man,
that's
Like,
true,
like
but
quality
still,
of life.
that should not be like the main selling point of the phone. Because here's the thing: the Pixel can do AI, and it's half the fucking price. So,
Wasn't it like updated, like a update that added the
well,
AI?
yes,
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
my
the
phone
thing.
recently got updated actually.
Yeah, because I have a Pixel 7 and I've had that since October 2022. And since then I've had two major, I mean realistically, one major OS update, and I had more features added onto the phone as time goes on. And that's the kind of thing. The thing is, like, aside from like Samsung, Apple, and Google, other phone manufacturers, they won't give you like all these OS updates and security updates.
yeah.
That's one of the main reasons why LG went out of fucking business. because they just couldn't, compete with the updates that the other companies could do.
Weirdly enough, I just went on Google's site. They have their folding phone on sale from
Yeah, yeah.
1800 to 1300.
I'll tell you, Goki, right now, the S23 is a good phone. I am not going to say anything bad about it. It's just that if I wanted to go back to a Samsung flagship, I'd rather get last year's phone so I don't have to freaking pay the exorbitant amounts of money that Samsung's charging. And also, by the way, the European folks, they're fucked because they have to deal with the fucking Exynos chips instead of Snapdragon.
The way he said it, you done fucked up. But nah, it's
And also the 5G bands are different in Europe. That's why.
yeah, of course. I didn't mean to get on that whole phone tangent. It was mainly just because
No, it's fine.
I was thinking
No,
of
it's
the,
fine,
I was
but
thinking
still-
of the, I was
but
thinking of
it's
the,
still-
I was thinking of the
but it-
DS, so I was thinking of like the folding, and that's what made me think about folding
Right.
phones.
Right, but I would say it's a good comparison because now it's going to set a benchmark, because considering that the Switch and the successor to it are going to run on mobile
I
CPUs.
don't know why.
You have to compare it to it.
I love.
I
the,
do not. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I love the joke that he broke out of the apple plantation. That's fucking terrible. All right, you can continue.
He says that that person says that, and I went earlier this year and went on back market to buy an iPhone 13 Pro. So it's kind of, but that's for a different reason.
Yeah, of course. That's not for the traditional reason.
Yeah, I used it. Tried. I mean, my one live stream in Japan actually came out pretty well, and I'm actually happy about it. And also, the Blackmagic camera app is really good too. That I will give them for that. And also also I was able to get 5G in Tokyo, which was fucking crazy because my Pixel 7 did not have it.
But before we get out of here, there is one other console I want to properly address because I don't think we really talked about it.
Sure.
And that is the PS5. I need to know people's current thoughts on the console before we.
So my thoughts on the console, the consoles in a whole, like especially this year, I felt like it's more the industry now the way it is. It feels more like indie games and all these other unknown studios. It's their time to shine. And because looking at Nintendo Direct and looking at all these other ones, it's really no games that's making me like want to jump in. And these from major developers. I'm looking at these and I'm like, boy, what's going on? We getting all these remakes, but nothing really innovative yet. So I don't know. Feel like until the end of this year or until Grand Theft Auto 6, which everybody's hyping up the all hell. I don't know. This PlayStation 5 just looks bleak to me right now.
Yeah, and also it fails like threefold realistically. It fails as a game console, it fails as a media center, and it fails as a value proposition.
Does anyone even use it as a media center?
No.
Dang, why'd you do it like that? No, never.
Yeah. And also, here's what I call it: the PlayStation 5. Yeah.
You fucking villain. You're a villain. You know.
And also, what didn't help the PS5 is the fact that freaking the manufacturing was problematic because of COVID, and then you also had freaking people scalping this shit for fucking $800, $900.
Yeah.
You had people going to Best Buys to raid them for all their PS5s.
Yeah, that was kind of
Navy goes, the PS5 took too long to peak, too many microtransactions, lack of first party IPs, and lots of woke titles.
Well, yeah, I mean that's another problem for another day.
Also, Goki, you're right. The industry did kill AA games.
Indeed.
But that's a whole other conversation I've had before about AA titles and where we are.
And also the biggest problem is we're in 2024 now. We're in the industry as a whole, and we're not just talking about video games, but also like Hollywood and everywhere else. They're creatively bankrupt. where
That was
there's
like
no new
that was
ideas.
TSS's favorite phrase during the.
Yeah,
thanks.
Ryan, sorry.
That was like TSS's favorite phrase during, what was it, the Xbox showcase? I think is what we watched.
Yeah. Well, no. It was Arlo that said that, and that he
No,
was-
no,
yeah,
but
he
I'm
was
talking about
lying
when we were
for Ryan.
watching the showcase, and you kept saying
Yeah,
the term.
creatively bankrupt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because all the fucking games are the same. Like,
Yeah.
okay, a fucking live service and another fucking shooter. Like, dude, don't we have anything else to fucking play, or fucking a cinematic game where I don't give a fuck? If I wanted to sit back and play a fucking cinematic game, I play fucking what is it? Fucking Xenogears 3 or some shit. 60-hour fucking game, or Star Ocean 1. 60-hour fucking game with 40 hours of cutscene. I'll play that shit before any of these fucking stupid ass half woman fucking haircuts come out
Oh
and fucking do that.
my goodness!
Like,
No,
no.
You need
no,
to
no,
enjoy
thank
the
you.
Xenosaga games too. They'll be fun to actually play through.
Oh my
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
goodness.
But I'm saying it's a problem. It's a huge problem with the industry as a whole, where you have these narrative games that I don't give two shits about. Like, no, fuck no.
I
And they
mean,
want to pay. You want to charge $70 for that shit? Fuck. I mean, you can't. I mean, I'd rather go watch 3 movies at fucking AMC than play that fucking bullshit.
Oh Lord.
You know?
Ryan, do you want to give your opinions on the PlayStation 5?
I mean, it,
He said he pretty much said everything.
Nah,
I
I just want to see. I just want to see. I want Galen to give a man to talk. I'm giving him a chance to talk.
okay. So realistically, did the PS5 even like have a legit generation?
No.
I mean, it's
No.
been what,
No.
4 years?
Less than 4 years. It's less than 4 years.
Yeah, less than 4 years. I
Yeah.
mean-
So I mean, like even with that, like okay, throughout those 4 years, there's not really like much titles or like much accomplishments from the PS5 that I could say, oh, that was a generation. Even though like the PS4, like you guys already said before, it had its issues, but at least it had something of note. PS5 is just, I mean,
It's just a bunch
what can
of-
you really say? And plus, you had that whole shit at the back in 2020 when fuckers were scalping that shit, so you couldn't even get it for like the first 2-3 years, something like that.
That's correct.
Yeah, we only started being
So-
able to get it consistently. I think, what was it, late 22?
Last year,
Or was
Yeah,
it?
late 2022, early 2023? I'd say around that period.
I would say 2023. I saw more of them.
Yeah, that's when it became like normal.
Yay.
say this: the next generation, they can't repeat this shit. They can't.
No.
This cannot be.
So you mean next year?
I'm
They can't
letting
repeat this shit.
them have it. I'm letting them have it. Okay, you know what? Tough times. I get it. So
Is that really what it is? Is that the excuse we're gonna
Tough time, hard
Well, that-
time.
well, That is-
and listen, I'm trying to give them a benefit of a doubt. That's
Well,
it. I'm just
to be
trying to
fair,
give
Well, what
the
is,
entire-
the tough times is technically their fault for pushing the cinematic experience over okay.
I understand where it's coming from here, because 2020, 2021, and 2022, the whole electronic industry as a whole,
Oh, yeah,
you had
COVID.
part shortages and everything like that. Why do you think fucking Raspberry Pis, people were scalping Raspberry Pi 4s for fucking $160 when you could get one at launch for fucking like 35, 40?
Yeah, I like I said, I think that I could give them a pass this generation, but they cannot repeat this. You better come
No.
out with something new, innovative, something that I can be immersed in again. Like I don't want no open world bullshit because I ain't got time for open world.
Have
all
we
the
really
time.
got? By the way, have we gotten any new IPs from them this generation?
Like, shit.
First party wise,
Unless you
probably
get-
not. No.
Because Astrobot
That's
isn't considered. No, that was on the PS4, wasn't it?
PS4, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. PlayStation
Yeah.
sounds- You got to come home.
Astrobot stayed alive while Gravity Rush died.
That pisses
Well, aren't you
me
still
off.
getting a movie for Gravity Rush?
Hey, don't you dare say that bullshit. Doesn't exist.
Yeah. I think it technically exists. You just don't understand why they're doing it.
It's just about as depressing as when that animation studio closed after they had to remake Sonic 1. movie. So it's like fucking yeah.
Also, no, do you find it interesting that the turnover rate for God of War Ragnarok coming to PC is even shorter than it was for the original God of
No.
War to come to
I'm
on
not
PC?
surprised. Nope.
How close you think? How long before we get day and date PC releases for PlayStation?
Maybe when their pro version comes out.
Oh,
I ain't gonna lie, that's
Jesus.
kind of alarming too, because
I-
Ghost of
yeah.
Tsushima's on.
It's
Steam.
alarming because they already don't have a lot of games.
It's a Telltale.
So I'm
sign.
like, what the fuck? I'm like, so the handful of titles you currently have, the only ones that are locked on console, I think at this point, is Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
2 and both Horizons are on PC. Ghost of Tsushima's on PC.
And Bloodborne. That's
No,
pretty much the
well,
only
Bloodborne I think is just gonna be in hell for like the next decade. Like
Right.
it's been that game is
I'm
still
not
stuck on
even
the PS4 for God's sake.
the fact that I saw a tweet.
They got the Demon Souls remake. Didn't that come out on PS5? That's
Isn't-
not on Steam.
Is it not on
Yeah,
Steam?
but that's
Not yet. I was gonna say
That's a
I was
little
gonna say,
shocking.
referencing a tweet that I saw earlier today. The fact that we are getting Bubsy 3D on the PC on Steam
Oh.
before fucking
That was
before Bloodborne.
that I think we're past the point of people recognizing it, saying Bubsy's so bad it's funny, and now I think people are just like, maybe
You
it
know,
wasn't
get a
that bad.
collection.
Maybe it wasn't that bad of a platformer. Like that's what I feel like we're at this point, and it's kind of starting to tick me off. I'm like, y'all know this game is bad, right? You know the games are bad, right? No.
I actually had Bubsy for like Sega Genesis. I actually bought it. I didn't even know about the game. And when I played it as a kid, I enjoyed it. But looking back at
It's
it,
a
it's kind
w-
of like
I think my
I
favorite.
actually bought Bubsy 2 boxed back in like 99. Yeah, back in like 99 I bought
I
Bubsy 2
love
in
my
box.
favorite description of it is probably from John Tron's review of it, where he was like, "It fucking plays like Sonic, but the levels are designed like Mario."
yeah, it does.
Bubsy 2 is better than Bubsy 1.
Yeah,
it's
but
yeah,
like
but-
it's like saying feces is better than like cat feces. Like
Hey, I'll be honest with you.
It's the one hit in your
The
dead
2D
bullshit.
games
Yeah.
are not worse than the 3D ones. So
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, but that's
Bubsy
not
3D
saying
is
a lot
fucking-
considering the 3D
it's
the
not.
3D game's biggest offense is not being done at all. Like I fucking hate it.
Well, and also it's like for being a PlayStation game, it runs like ass anyway.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I just look at the weird situation Sony finds themselves in, and it's funny that they're still, in a lot of people's eyes, viewed as the market leader. When
Not anymore. I mean,
think when the
the sad
PlayStation 5
Go
Pro come out, it might be.
the biggest problem I also think that killed Sony was moving their headquarters to fucking California instead of keeping it in Japan.
yeah.
I
And the
very
sad
much,
part is
yeah.
when you had less censorship on fucking Nintendo than a Sony console, then it's a problem.
well, I also think they don't. It almost feels like they don't care about their home country's
No,
values
Nah.
anymore,
absolutely
or at
not.
least their fan base.
Like,
No.
didn't they say something
'Cause-
about PlayStation 5 wasn't selling like that in Japan?
No, it's not.
Like, it wasn't.
It's
No.
not. It's not selling in
No.
Japan like that.
No,
well, wasn't it just a reason that Americans buy more games than in Japan? So
I mean, that
they
was
just
true.
Said, yeah, we're going.
That's still
yeah,
but-
but
no.
the
Listen.
thing is though, a Dragon Quest release can still freaking push numbers. To
Well,
this
that-
day.
yeah.
well, the Dragon
That's
Quest
what I'm
stuff is
saying. I
coming
think
to PlayStation still, right?
Like,
The-
when
the
they made
remakes
news
we're getting?
like that-
Yeah,
Yeah.
go
I
ahead.
think when they make news like that, it's completely bullshit. Just say, hey, the culture in our area has changed. They don't play home consoles like that anymore. Just be honest. Nigga,
Well,
Yeah.
actually, okay, so for me being to Japan like 7 times, I can definitely tell you that a lot of I saw a fuck ton of people playing mobile games on the trains.
there you go.
I mean, we're already. Like I said, on my third Japan trip, on my way home to freaking going to Narita Airport on the Keisei line, I fucking saw a guy with 4 iPhones stacked on his left arm playing a fucking a game, like the same game. 4 fucking phones on his arm, extended his fucking arm to fucking play the game.
There you go.
I call that dedication.
Yes. But that's the point. I understand where they're coming from, and even freaking Masuda said, more people are playing mobile games, and that's 100% true.
Yeah. So I understand Sony's more willingness to come over to the States and prioritize them because they're the ones playing their games. But I also but I also believe they've also changed game design philosophies that I'm not a big fan of. It's one thing to move to America because that's where the majority of your money is. It's another thing to not design the games the way you used to, or at least keep the same design philosophy. I'll say that.
Okay. To answer the question here, my outlook on Atari has not been Atari since fucking 1983. Okay? When the video game crash happened at that time and it got sold from Warner Communications. Actually Warner Communications bought it in like 1981. From around that time and after the video game crash of 83, Atari has not been the same. They failed with the 7800, they failed with the Lynx, they failed with the Jaguar, and it became a freaking publishing company. And at that point, there was it's basically like the video game equivalent of fucking Bell and Howell, because that company doesn't even fucking exist anymore. So essentially, and then they try to do this stupid Atari VCS shit, where it's just an overglorified x86 APU fucking machine.
That sounds like a disappointed father.
That plays like fucking overpriced games. Yeah, and that's what it is. That's what it is. Atari right now is just a name. It does not harken back to the days of the Atari 400 and 800 and even the computer line, even the Atari SD. It doesn't exist like that anymore. It's just a name, and that's all it is. It's just a name that is a front for a publisher. Now it's not even a game development or game console anymore. And realistically,
honestly, I think Xbox made the right call, returning themselves into like more of a gaming service than a. I think they right on the ball.
But are you happy about that?
No, I'm not. But you got to understand, I'm not from that. Do
gamers want? Let's be real here.
That's not catering to me, because my generation is what you grew up on with the blowing the cassette cartridges and shit like that. But
yeah,
I'm cool with the new stuff.
Here's my question: do we want gaming consoles anymore? That's really what the question needs to turn into, because that's where we're at. That's where we're about to get to.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
So
why?
Because competition is good, and you don't want everything to get more expensive if we only had one thing to buy everything on.
How many more consoles you giving Sony?
Oh, 0. Let's be honest. If they don't, here's the thing. They had said before that when the PS3 didn't do well, if the PS4 did worse, then they would have been out of the console business. So if the same situations happens with them again, then they could go fuck themselves.
Well, the PS5 is doing worse than the PS4, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, because they was talking that PS5 was doing good at one point, but now they
50. Most of their user base, 50% of them are still on the PS4, from what Sony have said, if I remember. That's good
fucked
percentage.
No.
That is fucked. 4 years after, and then again though, the same could be said for the Wii U, because remember that the Wii had an installed base of 100 million.
Yeah, but that was
versus 13.
That's a little different, because just question: how many of us in this call actually own a PlayStation 5 but own a PS4? So
no.
My brother is the only one that does.
So we're part of the percentage that don't fucking own their console.
I
Not new,
I
at
was
least.
going to get the PS5.
What do you mean not?
but-
Oh, you bought it used?
Yeah,
Was it because it was on sale or
yeah.
how much you get it for?
Well, hold on.
The
How
way
much
you
is the
said
base price again? I have to remember. It's been months.
$499 is the base price.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so 300 something.
Have you bought any? Have you been buying games for it?
Like, how else do you think I talked about? Stellar Blade and whatchamacallit? Devil May Cry 6.
I thought you were just. Oh, you actually bought Devil May Cry 6?
Yeah, my brother did. At
Okay,
least.
all right, there we go.
Okay, I was saying
I
that.
say, come on now, hold up. We gotta be more specific here. We ain't gonna play that fucking game. I'm just saying, where we're at currently, at least with Sony, is a very weird spot because the way they're putting these games on PC, I'm trying to figure out like, I mean, realistically, and TSS knows,
Yes.
I had the option. I had $500 I decided to spend, and I had an option. I could have went with a PS5 or just get a new graphics card. And I have a new graphics card right now, so that tells you what happened.
Oh,
And they-
yeah, that was a smart idea too. That was smart.
But that's crazy, bro. To have the money for the game console and then not have any reason to buy it.
Well, to be
I
fair,
know-
to be
I
fair
know
though,
I-
the GPU that he has is better than the PS5.
Oh, no,
Even the GPU that I have is better than the PS5 because if you take into consideration, if you take the amount of CU units, the compute units, it is equivalent to a 6700 XT. Sorry, 6700 straight, not an XT. I have the XT, which is faster than the PS5. You have a Terrell has a 7800 XT, which is faster. So he was able to get a graphics card that is technically faster than the PS5.
I guess
So,
I guess my
yeah.
problem is just more so like I've never been at this point where
Navy, it's a graphics card. It's not a capture card. It's a graphics card.
yeah, it's different. It's different.
It's completely different. Yeah.
I think what messes me up is that I'm at the point where it's like I've said this I've said this on the Juices Loose podcast. I've said this in conversations. I'm at the point where I'm looking for a reason to buy a PlayStation 5. And part of the issue actually is my Xbox. When you have the Series X, I still get all those third-party games. There is no reason to own a PlayStation and an Xbox.
Well, except the Marvel vs. Capcom collection.
I have a Switch, and that would be bought on Switch. I don't give any type of a fuck. Also, by the way, we free Marvel. Let's go, baby. That's all that fucking matters. All right.
It's Marvel, baby.
Yes, it is.
We did. Now we need the free Capcom versus SNK. That's
Well,
next.
the only
No,
okay, the only
is that
okay,
not? Was that? Oh, that's not in the collection.
no,
Yeah,
that's
it's not. It's different.
Okay.
I will say this though. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any cross-plat play for the.
That's a
collection.
little surprising.
Well, I don't. It doesn't matter because
Blame Sony with everything. You know?
It's not like I played-
I love that. I love that as a default response.
It's not like I played that game. At least the Marvel vs. Capcom 1 through 2 series, like I played that competitively. I played them by myself, so fuck online. Like,
Nah, man.
Seriously.
Nah, listen.
I like the fact that of course this is going to be like light years better than the fucking 30th anniversary collection, which is freaking ass.
yeah,
But at least then again though, you're talking to a person that just spent fucking $72 on the freaking Kingdom Hearts collection on Steam. So I mean, I don't know.
I get where you're coming from because at one point before I got this PC, I was supposed to get a PlayStation 5 just for Spider-Man 2. I was looking for a reason, but then I had to think to myself like, am I really going to get this console for one game and just sit on this one game?
Yeah. And the thing is, though, I was gonna do the same thing with Gran Turismo. I was like, but no, you can't. Play
Oh,
it
the Switch
offline.
version doesn't. I'm not surprised. The Switch version doesn't have rollback netcode, but I mean, I kind of expected that, unfortunately.
That makes sense now.
I
But
get
that's
it,
fucking
but
again, it's stupid. It's like the Switch version doesn't have rollback. It's like, well, that's gonna make certain people disappointed.
well, yeah, but I'm be real with you. If you're playing a fine game on Switch
I ain't gonna lie,
competitively,
that game coming out kind of disappointed me because I actually had the PS2 version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The disc.
actually, I do too.
I have the Dreamcast version still.
I didn't
That
even know.
was-
I couldn't find the Dreamcast version, so I was just
Well,
happy to get it.
I got that in 2003. So
Now
yeah.
I think they're going to be worthless.
I mean, it is what
I
it
mean, no, I
is.
think I still think though the extra. Okay, so the extra version, the extra stuff on MVC2 on the Dreamcast still is worth having. But then again, though, you can emulate it. So I mean, it's realistic.
Yeah, it's just it depends. It depends what the collectors feel. Some people might just still want the PS2 disc
What?
or the
apparently,
Dreamcast
but
disc.
saying that the PS2 version was the shittiest version.
It was.
It is.
Yeah, that's why the Wii U version is based off the 360 version of Bayonetta.
So
You said Bayonetta, right?
Shut up. I see what you're a fucking villain. You know damn well that's not what we were talking about. You fucking ass. That wasn't your childhood, Donnie.
He just wanted to go into Witch Time real fast.
Ah, well played. I don't care about rollback for the Switch version. I'm gonna be playing it on my PS4 on my PS5. That's right.
I'm just gonna get the Steam version. Screw that, because I have a Steam Deck. So
I'll probably still get it on Switch for now, and then wait, is it on
physical.
PS4?
yes.
Well, fuck it. I'll pay on PS4 Pro. It's not like I'm fucking. It's not like I'm looking for some fucking like HDR on fucking Marvel's Capcom 2, for God's sake.
Well, you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna.
Well,
get
no,
it.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, so
I know. I'm just making the fucking joke. I wasn't going into the actual technical specifics. God damn it. No, I'm just glad the game exists. But I'll probably still get it for Switch because I like playing that shit on handheld.
Yeah, but then again, no. I mean, the issue here is that the Steam Deck exists, and then people.
Oh
will
yeah,
play
of course.
that instead.
I don't own that. That's my problem. I don't own the thing, so the best I could do is just play it on Steam. But that's the kind of game I kind of like playing. Also, because I'm not good at it. I'm buying 4 copies of MVC collection. Johnny, you need to chill out.
Well, I
buy
mean,
that
it's
one copy on Steam. Just buy that one copy.
The most
Yeah.
I can see myself doing is 2 copies. The Switch and the Steam version. That's like the only 2 copies.
that's about right. But I'll wait until fire sale on the Switch one.
But don't worry about it. As long as it's not Kingdom Hearts, we don't make crazy financial decisions. That still pisses me off. For a series that has as many problems as it does, I own it like 5 fucking times. I own it on, if I count the originals, I own it on PlayStation 2. Well, you know I won't do that because to count the originals, that means I have to count every fucking handheld and console.
DS.
Nah,
PSP.
we'll just stick to the collection.
3DS.
No, so
Yeah.
we'll stick to the PS3. So the PS3 collection, the PS4 collection, the fucking Xbox Series X version of the collection.
I
Hold on a
played the
sec.
Punisher game.
I own it. I think I own it 3 fucking times, and it's the same goddamn collection. Oh no, I'm lying.
Yeah.
And then I also have the PlayStation 4. No, all right.
Well, to be fair though, the PS3 collection only ran at 30, so it's.
Well, I never played it. The funny thing is, I bought the collection and then never played it because the PS4 collection came out. So,
the hell?
so when I streamed Cage 2, that was the PS4 collection.
Yeah, that's right. It's a Marvel, baby.
And then I went back and then I bought it on Xbox because I couldn't be bothered to move my PlayStation 4 back into this room to stream it
Reminds me
off.
of the old Chinatown Fair.
Which, if anything, just gives me an excuse to go back and play Cage 2 again. Like, I fucking need to do that shit.
You
So-
mean in critical mode, level 1?
I mean, that was what I told you. I haven't started it. We're finishing Bird by Sleep before I make any interest in that, okay? God damn it.
Yeah, like I said, my summer game off stream is going to be Cage 2, so I can get ready for Cage 3.
Yeah. I'm curious to see you play Cage 2.
Well, at least, also that means, the crazy thing is, the thing about KH, the Cage collection, is the fact that it was stuck on fucking Epic Game Store for like 3 years. Nobody fucking bought it because it was
We're not
too
even talking
expensive.
about the bigger issue. The fact that final mix versions for Cage 1 and 2, we didn't get until, what was that, like late PS3 generation? What was that, like 2011?
2011?
Yeah.
2011? Yeah.
And those games have been out for like almost a decade at that point for some of them.
Yeah, because they always came out a year after the original releases in Japan.
And we just never
Yeah,
got
it's
and
similar
we just
to the Persona situation.
at least we got those though. I feel like we got those in
Yeah.
a more timely manner than fucking Kingdom Hearts. And funny because I still only think like a couple of those games are actually well made gameplay wise.
2013, yeah, that's when we got the PS3 collection.
Is it?
That's-
So the last
Damn.
year the PlayStation 3 was when we got that collection?
Yup.
So we can make the joke that, hey, by the way, we got fucking Kingdom Hearts on PS3, which is what half of the people who owned a PS3 wanted it for.
Yeah.
They literally were
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I need to buy a PS3 because I think Kingdom Hearts is coming out, and then it didn't come out. And in the last year, we were like, but here's that collection you wanted. What the fuck? Oh my god!
2017
Yeah.
is when the PS4 collection came out.
And we bought it. I think
Yeah.
when it was on sale, we bought it. What was it? 2019.
Yeah, 2019. I went and
That was
you
that
know, I
dumbass.
bought-
We had this dumbass call where we were talking.
yeah, and I bought. And I ended up buying the all-in-one package at like 2:30
Yeah, I
on
don't-
DoorDash.
technically-
Fucking $20 for $20.
That's wild that you did that off of DoorDash. I own Kingdom Hearts 3 twice because of that whole situation.
Well, now here's the thing. Now with the Steam collection, I own the fucking Green Mine DLC because I technically can't buy it because my PS4 is not online.
No, that's right.
Yeah, because the latest versions of 3 does have Remind included. The full package.
It's crazy that the MVC collection drops this as the X-Men manga from the 90s from the artists of MVC. Oh my god. Game companies need to stop keeping the stuff we want from them until the last year of the system. To be fair, I blame that's a Square Enix thing, which
Well, that's not only a Square.
well, that's also a
Enix,
Disney
lot of
thing.
Yeah, it's also a Nintendo thing too.
Try to figure out what was the point of putting that Punisher game on there. And I'm like, you know,
Don't
No,
listen.
no.
Don't do that.
Listen,
Don't do
listen.
that.
There was no.
I played.
I
that
did the
game
way
and
you said it was
like,
like, who the fuck?
I just-
This
Who
is
gives
the
a
first.
shit
This
about
is the
the
first.
Punisher?
This is the first time it's available at home on a home.
I just don't. I
port.
don't like the
Oh,
attitude
like
behind it.
people can actually
That's
play
the point.
people can actually play this on legal matters besides fucking Fightcade or some shit. You know, the Fightcade is not even legal.
I'm just glad Disney let them fucking finally port this bitch because that game's been in. MVC 2 is one of those games that motherfuckers.
No, they should have brought the X-Men game. I want that game back.
Listen, you can't have everything. God damn it.
But I know Konami made that one, but shit.
It also is funny to me when I think about like the PS5 and I realize that Tyrone's getting one for fucking Dragon Ball of all things, and I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, you finna waste your money, bro.
Didn't he
Funny
also
thing-
get P3 mid-load?
yeah, he already bought it. Yeah, he
Well,
physically-
yeah, when he
no,
bought
man.
it. Yeah,
he
already
bought it in
it.
advance, but yeah, so he's gonna get his
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 in the next 4 months before the game comes.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 months. Yeah.
I think he's
Yeah.
getting it. I think he's getting it sooner because he also bought like the ultimate edition of the fucking Dragon Ball.
Oh, no, I
sparking-
understand why.
Huh?
Yeah, no, I understand why because of those 20 characters.
I don't think that's the reason why.
That's the only way you-
I think that's because he's a Dragon
I mean-
Ball fan. He was not going to not get the best version of the game. He-
I mean, yeah.
I mean, to be-
but it's still the game we played back on PlayStation 2.
I was like, what did you say, Ryan?
Oh no, I was just saying. I mean, didn't he talk about like he literally just had the money for a while now to like get the PS5, and he was just searching for reasons to get it.
He used the same excuse I used.
Yeah, basically.
The difference is I have a console that plays a lot of those games already, so realistically, I really don't need the PS5. He doesn't. The newest console he has.
I think
Well, great.
Go ahead.
What are you saying?
no, I want you to go ahead because I was interrupting you.
Oh, okay. All right. I was gonna say, he does the newest, the most powerful console he currently owns is the PS4. So for him, you kind of need to go ahead and upgrade because you don't have a console that can currently play it. Although, isn't Sparking Zero supposed to be on PC as well?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
You should have got a laptop. You should have got a game.
He should have
laptop.
got his lap. To be fair, he has a
PC.
He has a
He has
PC
an
that
actual
runs
PC.
it, but I don't think Tyrone doesn't seem like the type that's gonna play that on this PC. I'll be real with you.
Yeah, they said PC. PlayStation, because they kept saying put on your wish list, and I'm like, okay.
I hate that that's like a tagline now. Like,
Well,
guys.
yeah, I mean it's true.
But it just sounds
I'll take
goofy
it.
to me, bro.
Yeah, but
I'll
it
take
helps
it if
with
you put
traffic
on
on Steam, anyways.
Yeah.
I think you put it in the wish list, you're gonna get something extra, but it's just no.
No, it's just put it in your wish list.
Well, put
Oh,
in your wish
okay.
list, and maybe people like Lightning will buy it for you or something.
No, God, no. Listen, that's a hard. That's you ain't shit. That's wild. That's wild. Listen, listen. To me, it's Dragon Ball. At this point, I'm gonna just let it sit and wait.
Well,
I know why he's getting it because it's fucking. It's a continuation of a series that hasn't continued in a hot minute. Well, not by that name. Let me phrase it by that specific name. Technically, people look at what is it, the Raging Blast games as sequels of that particular game. Yeah, that's what. Well, I remember Tyrone. I remember Tyrone saying that.
yeah.
I never
that's
touched
bad.
Raging Blast personally, so I never. I don't.
Only thing they had was that Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta that was kind of interesting, but other than that, it's kind of.
Was it kind of interesting because he was Super Saiyan 3 or just because he was in the game? Because I feel like.
I never.
Go ahead.
Anybody ever saw a Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta? That was just like a whatever character type of shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah.
just saw it from like a what if cutscene.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, I mean-
Anime game's been a very weird spot for me personally, so I'm just kind of like.
Yeah,
Also,
so-
I just got off a really shitty One Piece game, so I'm not in the mood to
Are you talking
Which
about
One
the
Piece
RPG?
game?
you know which
Odyssey?
one? Yeah, you know which One Piece game. Don't ask me these questions.
You mean
Hey,
Elka?
man.
Listen.
Yeah,
I was
Ilka
gonna
makes
get
quality
Odyssey
stuff.
too.
I mean,
I was
look at
gonna get it.
BDSM, the best Pokemon.
Did you
remake
do
ever.
that every time you talk about Pokemon?
Well, speaking of
bro?
which, the Power World update should be coming out like next week. So
Are people playing that like heavily? Because I think right now Elden Ring is kind of taking over everyone's lives.
yeah, it's Elden Ring. Yeah, Elden Ring is first now, but the new update for Power World I think drops like next week.
I
Oh,
was going to the Power World, but I don't know
Did the actual release come out, or is it still like?
No, it's still early access, but they're dropping
Oh,
like
okay.
new feature set
Yeah.
on like the 27th, I think.
it's just a
Oh,
new-
and also
what?
Terrell, we're gonna miss out on Wolverine, so we ain't got a PS5.
Are you sure you want to that Wolverine if you've seen how
Donnie,
Jean Grey looks like?
Donnie. Wait, have we seen what Jean Grey looks like?
Oh, I've seen the leaks.
I haven't seen. any
I haven't
of
seen
them
no
like
leaks
that.
of Jean Grey's
Oh,
face.
then hold on, let's just see.
I feel like
Oh,
there's
boy.
gonna be some ass, bro.
Bro, I gotta see this shit. Hold on.
I feel like we don't need to see this. I feel like it's gonna be bad. I'm sorry, but they need to bring back Super
boy.
Dragon Ball Z game that is heavy
Oh,
underrated.
boy.
That thing is gonna be.
Okay, I put it in
I'm not gonna say to say Sparking Zero is gonna be
Game of
DOA
chat.
because of MVC collection is not a strong enough thing, Johnny. Like you don't understand.
Nah, it's not going
MVC,
to.
although MVC appeals to a different fighting game fan base. That's a very old school meta fighting game fan base.
Yeah, the
Dragon
people,
Ball
the people,
Z
the people that go,
appeals
yeah,
to-
the-
boy.
yeah. The people that hang around the people that hang around like Chinatown Fair and those fight tournaments in like Brooklyn. Those are the people.
Donnie, what is this?
That look like
Johnny,
Jean Grey in her
Johnny.
40s. God
Johnny.
damn.
Johnny, what is
wait,
that?
what
The
is-
third image is how she used to look like, and the two other images the current look.
I
that's
like how that
Auntie
second photo you
Oh,
posted
that's
looks.
not
She
Jean
looks.
Grey, that's
Her face
Auntie
looks
Grey.
photoshopped.
That's Auntie Gray.
That's Auntie Grey.
That's great, Chin.
And then let me just put this.
Why does she look like an AI upscaled like a Lord of the Rings character?
Oh no, we gotta chill out. Listen, we gotta chill out.
You got that Mary Jane jawline.
Y'all lighting fireworks on the 4th? I
I'm
am
curious when that
because
game
my
takes
nephew
place.
wants
Oh,
to.
boy.
My nephew wants
she's-
to see sparklers. TSS will be harassed by fireworks for the next 6 weeks.
Well, yeah, they're probably gonna start, and also gonna probably hear it outside of my room.
I heard fireworks for fucking Juneteenth this week. I was so confused.
There was fucking fireworks on fucking Cinco de Mayo.
I mean, every culture deserves it. No one's hyped for Hunter x Hunter and then Impact. No.
Also,
I
also,
mean,
also,
Not that it's
also,
not that it's
also-
bad. I just don't care.
also,
It's
that
the same stuff.
last image. Also, that last image that Donnie posted in the chat here kind of looks like freaking Kirstie Alley before Jenny Craig. You know?
I feel like you smacked your
Don't
mic.
tell me they basically modeled her after like one of the game dead.
Yeah, probably because that's the same thing that happened with Mary
Anybody
Jane.
can be Jean Grey, Donnie. Even you.
Yeah.
At
At least you look young.
you
Donnie
bitch.
would look better in a dress on this.
Oh, all right, we gotta chill out.
That
We gotta
was-
chill
yeah,
out.
just
I
all
wonder
credit.
when that game
Kidding.
take place
Kidding,
because she
Okay.
older like that, and men probably did or some shit. Cyclops probably homeless.
I like the idea that she's like 23. You're like, what the fuck?
That looks like that does not look like 23.
I know that's the joke.
23 in dog years. I mean,
And then you see the developer talk about it, and you're like, damn, y'all got the same double chin. What the fuck is going on?
She got that crack jaw on.
All right, this is
It
terrible.
looks like she's
We gotta
she's
stop.
seen some shit.
We gotta stop roasting this leaked footage of a game that doesn't come out for like another 2 years. Relax, because we're supposed to be getting that fucking Venom game first, right? Next year, I think.
I mean, then
Yeah.
again, then again, no.
That's
people
if
get
Insomniac
excited
kept those dates, which they may not have. I'm gonna be real
The
about
fact
it.
that the fact of the matter that people can criticize a Switch game that comes out next year that runs at that ran fucking 5 FPS on the trailer, not understanding this still
Why
under
do we need a
development. I mean,
fucking Venom game? Just make a Maximum Carnage and call it a day. We just want to see that.
LJN.
Get to the
No, oh, wow, that's a hell of a. Also, I'm eating my leftover birthday cake, Cyclops. Yeah, chill out.
oh my god.
Fucking chill out. Listen, it's been 2 hours and a half. We better get out of here. Donnie, this is enough to satiate you.
This is dangerous now.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Yeah.
dangerous. Late
Wait,
night conversation.
Costco cake.
No, it's from Publix.
No. Publix. Okay.
Wait, no, Publix got good cake.
See?
Yeah.
Hey, let's get it.
Publix has good shit. They have a good sandwich too.
They actually
Publix.
do. I fuck with that deli. Like,
Right.
you go to the deli. If you go to Publix, go to the deli.
The problem is if the only time I've been to Publix is when I was in Florida. So I was like,
You could have went. We were
Yeah.
over here.
yeah, but I want I want
we
my
have-
but I want my Waffle House.
All right, fine. All right, whatever. All right. We're getting out of here. No, we're done. We're done.
I ain't gonna lie. Costco got good pizza though. They pizza. good.
Oh, that's facts.
No, I'll give you that. I'll give you-
Also, the hot dog and the drink is the best deal in American history.
How much was that?
$1.50.
That's
You know
fucking.
what? I
That's
think the
insane.
Costco's pizza costs the same as the Little Caesar shit. So
Oh yeah, and it's better.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
100% better.
listen. Little Caesars quality
ass,
wise.
right?
No, listen.
It's ass for that price.
It's
'cause it used to be
no, you can't.
$5.
No,
No, because it used
you
to
have
be
to have a
$5.
Costco membership just to even get into Costco. What are you talking about?
But the pizza costs the same as fucking Little Caesar.
All right, we're not gonna do
Little
this.
Caesar costs not.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we will be doing more P3 Reload. Shinji's dead, so we're in mourning. But it is what it is. Sunday, I think Tyrone's streaming Thousand Year Door. So for those who want to see that, you can look forward to it. And I think Richie's streaming now. He may not still be streaming. Is he still streaming? I think he's still streaming.
Well, I mean, it's only 8:30 over there. So.
I saw he started streaming like earlier, but I don't know if he's still streaming. Hold on.
The answer
Also-
is yes.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He is.
And also,
I need the link to his.
join me tomorrow on my Twitch channel as we play Dragon Quest V on the PS2. It's going to be a 4-hour stream starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
So you'll finish when I start?
Yes,
Was that
because
10?
I have to make up because I haven't played Dragon Quest V in fucking almost 2 months.
That is fair. I'm gonna link Richie's stream because he's playing Pokemon X, which
And
I hope you don't watch me. I hope you don't watch him and Tyrone because it's gonna be really fucking redundant.
join me tomorrow. And join me tomorrow. TSS_killer on Twitch.
Yes.
I don't see Tyrone streaming, so
I don't know what happened. He hasn't said anything tonight, even in our own private chats. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
so you're probably busy or something. You know?
Yeah, he could just be doing something. Oh damn!
Yeah, but he-
Damn it, Donnie, you're so quick.
yeah. And plus, Tyrone already had streamed today a few hours earlier.
What?
Yeah,
Did he?
When? For what?
When? Like for what? Yeah.
Let me check.
Pokemon, I
my
guess?
notifications.
He said it, didn't he?
No, I think
No,
it was
he did
just
Pokemon.
chatting.
He did Pokemon yesterday.
Oh,
think it was
he
a
probably
just-
what? Oh, did he probably do?
Did we do a round table?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Why he must have had something to do tonight if he did it that fucking early.
Probably.
I didn't even know. Huh. Okay. Anywho, I will TSS will see you tomorrow on his stream. And then after that you can come to my stream. And then after that you can go to bed. And we're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for support. I hope this entertained you. I hope this satiates Donnie's need for a stream on fucking Friday. And go support Richie. Life's a game. Play to win. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. You motherfucker. Peace out. Later days. Good God damn it. You fucking